What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, May 27th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. It was a bounce back night of sorts yesterday. 4-2 in MLB. We were 0-1 after the terrible look on the Reds-Cubs game. So hit 4 out of 5 in MLB. Lost, of course, with the Mavericks money line. And then cashed with the under 5 at plus 121. Now there was 2 minutes without the goalie in that we had to get through, which we did, which was fortunate. But a cash is a cash is a cash, and day in the black is a good day. And I want more. We have a huge show for you guys. Bobano, who brings his glorious NHL record in. It's a little different from where it was because he made a bunch of future moves, which we'll go over when he was here with Pistol Pete Loshak. But it's still glorious. 38-22, 63.3%, plus 18.79 units, ROI plus 31.32%, average line plus 114. And he is 25-24 in MLB, and that's after a 1-9 start. Down 0.2 units, ROI minus 0.41%. Rocking with us. Then we have It'sDerl, who called the Warriors game beautifully. And as you know, Darryl's been trying very hard to get to 60%. That's his goal on the year, and he's very close. He did hit the 100-win plateau. 100 wins, 70 losses, 58.8%, plus 25.22 units, ROI plus 14.84%, average line minus 104. Spectacular. Fridays have been a winning day here on the show, and it's important to start the weekend right, baby. Shout out to everybody joining us. Dennis Garcia first in the chat says NHL refs are a disgrace to the game. How do you kick something without lifting your leg off the ice? I agree with you. It was a mistake. And it'll be talked about forever. And, I don't think the way Coleman was driving the net, being pushed towards the net, I don't see that as a kicking motion myself. It's too bad. Now, the Flames deserve to lose, and I'm sure you agree with that. But it's too bad we don't have Game 6 in Edmonton coming up. And Dennis says that was a good goal literally all year until last night. Oh, no, you guys be my guest discussing this rat beer. This rat beer league sport. Oh, that got me. I didn't see that coming. For whatever reason, I hadn't read that part. Yeah, it sucks. Viper in the house. Dennis says, by the way, Markstrom needs to be arrested for theft. Absolutely disgraceful. Well, Flames have until 2025, 26. So enjoy that. That's one side of the coin. Now, I never moved on the Flames, and it's too bad. Dennis had him at 35-1. I did. We did have him on the division, thanks to Dennis, which was a glorious casher. Now let's see the other side of the coin. That's Rem Most. Feeling good about himself and his squad. Look at that. Remy saying, no better feeling than kicking the Flames out in their arena. Overtime winner scored by the greatest player in the league. He sure looks dominant right now, doesn't he? Mark Schillingberg in the house, coming off a great day. I love seeing that, Mark, my man. Under in Carolina, New York. Yes, that was glorious. I wish I had had Carolina too, but it's all good. That was my only bet. Carolina minus 1.5. Edmonton money line, the alternate over 7.5. Can you believe? You must have not thought. Then of course, 4 goals in a minute and 11 seconds. Warriors Dallas over 216. Beautiful Clay props, Wiggins props, gorgeous. Mark, my man. There's Sammy Calmer in the house. Michael Irvelina says McJesus adds to his legacy, but the Flames really disappointing this year. Sutter needed to slow the game down and not try skating back and forth with one of the fastest teams. That's an interesting take. Michael, I don't know if he has the squad really to slow it down. I think you have to think offensively. You're as good as the Oilers. But that's an interesting take. I would need to sit with that for a little bit. Yeah. Roger that, ready to go, says Yanks, cash that bitch. Yes, you went against both Ragu, who had a great day, 5-2 day for Ragu, and say, hey, plays of the day. That's not a profitable position to be in against them, but you cashed it. Congratulations. Also, a great day for Mr. Gogster. It was nice. And Remo says, this is what we live for. I love it. Roger that says Boston cashed that night. Yes, MLB was good. Cincinnati, Chicago, first 5 under 4.5. I was in dire straits. And look, it's been a rough couple weeks for me in MLB, so I need to turn things around. But Red Sox first 5 cashed. Boston, Chicago, White Sox first 5 over 4.5 cashed. Red Sox full game cashed. Blue Jays first 5 plus a half was a safe way of handling because I was also on the Toronto LA first 5 under 4. So it's disappointing that I would be sitting here down 0.2 units. I should have just taken the Blue Jays first 5 on the money line. Because I was on the under 4, I thought there would be low volatility in that game, and I was off. But I'm back on the Blue Jays right now. I think there's enormous value on the Blue Jays right now because of their tough start to the year, and I might just start betting them every day. I'm on them again today, even though the cash is on them and the market's just barely moving towards them. So, Mark Schlemberg said last night summed up. All you had to do was pick the better teams. Carolina over New York at home. Yeah, Edmonton all around better than Calgary. Wow, and Warriors better than Dallas. Well, great work. There's Chief ready to go. Johnny K. Blues plus 550. I can't wait to talk about that game. I have made a bet on that game. I've made a bet in NBA, NHL, and 4 in MLB. So I'm ready to rock. B-Bab ready to go. D. Jenkins. There's Slatsy in the house. 5-1 night in NHL plus 5.08 units. Great job. How do the Avs respond tonight? Lean over in first and full game? I don't lean over in first. In fact, I bet the under at plus 150. Under 1.5. That's my NHL bet, Slatsy. At first, I was leaning towards the over in the game. And then the more and more I started thinking about it, the more I started feeling like it's game 7. I know it's game 6, but it feels like game 7. It feels like an extremely important hockey game. And not that I don't think it'll go over, but it could be a similar thing from the Oilers-Flames game where it was kind of tight in the first period and then things completely opened up in the second. So I have moved. That was my move. That's my bet. I'm on the first period under 1.5 at plus 150. I think the sticks will be a little tight. But if you listen to the coaches, they're planning on just attack. So we will see. There's Justin Bilbo, Mr. T.O.G. in the house. I love it. Rodney Barton, Mike Smith, Dubs Easy. Sure was for you guys. Not for me. And Nutfuck says, I will find a clip of you giving out Caden's Warriors. Call Warriors in 5. You're right. I forgot Caden called Warriors in 5. God, he's so good, man. Caden's a monster. Wow. Respect, Caden. Brian Watson, Danny Lopez, Marty Riggs in the house. Paco Healy. All right. It is time to get to work. Victor Abud says, it's Alec Manoah Day. Let's cash. Yeah. I'm not sitting here afraid of going up against Chase Silseth. He's an 11th round pick. It's not like this huge prospect coming up. And sure, he looked great in his first start, not so good in the second start. And I'm really thinking of just hammering the Jays every day. Hammering the Jays every day from now on. Abel Alvarez ready to get to work. Look, Draisaitl is 26 points in the playoffs? I mean, Dommy, we don't like hearing that. Take care of that bottom mouth. Let's get back to our winning ways. That's McDavid is a rat. And Paco Healy says, funny fact, if you live in California, you're getting an anti-gambling bill ad every time coming to the show. Oh, no. Sammy Cummings says NHL's rigged. I don't know about that. All right. Gas Report, ready to go. Billy Friedrich. Great to have you, Gas Report. JALJ from H-Town. Great call. Edmonton team total over. Sammy Calmer. They're talking tennis. I don't know if you guys are making moves on it, but we bet on everything here. Lance LaRose ready to get to work. Mr. Heat. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. It is time now to get to work. There's my guy, Jedi for Life. Raven in the desert. Oh, Jedi for Life is already capped and is prepared for big Razor Cash It Fridays show tonight. Horse racing show, and Belmont just around the corner. And God, do I need to regroup? After the here Dommy Gun talking about having to stand up for the whole show because of the beating he's taken in the last few days. God, it was a horrendous Preakness day and a terrible Saturday of the Derby day. So I'm not happy. Sammy Coleman says Blues win tonight 3-2. I'm thinking of actually putting a small money line bet on the Blues privately just to cover the. I hate this. This is like I feel like it's my dad coming out of me. My dad does this. Maybe I should. You know what? I realize a mistake. It's just be stupid. Just so I'm not angry. I don't like it. RW in the house is listening at work every day. Rarely get to join the chat. Thanks for everything. Much love to you, RW. I love this. I just so thankful for the opportunity and honored that you guys cap with me every day, and I love it. 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 So thank you. And Jimmy Paco, old school low baggers in the lounge at 8 p.m. Nice, man. It's been a while since we've had that, and that's a big boss. Slatsy says, hate being against you, Jimmy, but the Avs come out with a flurry and Kempers look very ordinary. Yeah, we'll see. We'll go up again. Definitely, Kempers look very ordinary. But I think the Blues will be squeezing their sticks tight. The Blues, and sure, the Avs are going to come out gangbusters. But who gained confidence from Game 5? The Blues. I think it's going to be a tight first period. I think it's going to be a Game 7 feel. I mean, to get to the conference final against McDavid, I mean, there's a lot up for grabs. So that's the way I see it. Franco White says Jay's line seems sketchy, only minus 120. Where would you put it? I certainly wouldn't put the Jays more than minus 130, which I think it'll end up at. I mean, you can't have the Jays on the road in Los Angeles, where let's just pull up the Angels record from my notes here at home. I just 15-10 at home, but look, the Jays are 10-12 on the road. This Jays is not a juggernaut team. They're going to get hot right now, I believe. But look, they're 24-20. I mean, how big of a favorite can you make them on the road? I don't know. All right, it's time to Slatsy's with me on that Jays first five. I did double up. At first I only bet the first five, but then I added the full game. Paco talking about California gambling. Thank you, AOD. Billy Friedrich says the Blues haven't won at home in the series. That will end tonight. Game 7 is coming. Well, I can't wait to talk about that game. We've just the man to talk to that game. Ooh, sorry. It was a late night of capping. And, man, I was pumped up. Watching the Mavericks go down. Like, it's just watching the Blue Jays take care of business. I mean, that game didn't start till, 9:38 out here. So it was a late night, a late glorious night. I'm very happy to be here. And Dennis calling NHL Rat Beer League sport. Let's welcome your first guest of the show. He's with us for NHL and MLB. And in NHL, what a season he's put together in a short, just since February 18th. We called him up. He was our top prospect. We called him up, and he's been fire. Please welcome to the show from Hamilton, Ontario, Ian Cameron in the house. What up, Bobano? How are you?
Good, Jimmy. It's not good that the hockey season's almost over with how terrific it's been, but it is what it is. I mean, we're winding down, and the second round's winding down, and now we're going to start having, days with no hockey games at all, and there's only going to be games every other day once we get later into the playoffs. But it's been a hell of a season, and hopefully the playoffs finish strong as well.
Yes. We focus our attention to baseball, and then we start our study for college football and for NFL football. So there's always work for us to do, and I want to get ahead.
I hope Pub Sports Radio's got plans to do those football betting season preview videos again, because I felt I was better prepared for the season doing those. So
I agree.
I hope so.
I like those a lot. And also there's talk of doing some tailgate action in Texas for all the schools. And, I plan on going down and getting hammered with the students of each school. So there's lots of interesting stuff coming down the pipeline of Pub Sports Radio, as always. So let's go over a couple things here. First, let me get you've had some changes to your record. First off, you cashed your only bet from our show Friday. That was the over 6.5. That was a beauty casher, Bobano NHL. And although your opening action with Loshak on the Tuesday I missed didn't start out great, because you had Panthers game 1 in series and Panthers. Then you had St. Louis game 1 and Colorado series, which came very close. Remember, Colorado won that in overtime. So that was almost an opportunity for you to hit a plus 360 and a plus 196.
Yep.
So there's 4 losses to start off, but you cashed Blues first period at plus 155, which was a big casher. And then you cashed then you cash the Blues plus 2.5. You cashed that when they came back last. You lost that St. Louis Colorado over 6.5, but you got, I think, probably unlucky with the Calgary Edmonton to go to 7. But you have Carolina game 1 and series hanging as well at plus 102. So even with all of those changes here, you still have a spectacular NHL record. 38-22, 63.3%, plus 18.79 units, ROI 31.32%, average line plus 114. And we start off by me being on the other side of Slatsy. So let's get to work and break this game down. Big shout out to our guy, Fat Wally, in the house. We love you, Wally. It is great to see you, my man. And James S. says, I'm already doing my research for college football. A lot of transfers and a lot of stuff up in the air. That's awesome. Also, for this show here, if there's anybody, low baggers watching that there's a conference that they know inside and out and they love and want to focus on, I'd love to have you involved. So direct message me on Twitter, and let's get that started, because if anybody out there wants to have a bigger voice and be on camera here with us, we welcome that, and we want new voices. And so if that's you, James S., talk to me. If anybody out there hearing this thinks, I'd like to do that, hit me and let's go. Let's get to NHL right now. Bobano, we start West second round, game 6. Colorado up 3-2. Yes, Lucas, right. If I don't follow you, if I'll follow anybody who supports the show, and then that will open up all the direct messaging. So Lucas, put your Twitter here in the and then I'll follow you right away. So we'll make sure that that's available for you. Avalanche, St. Louis Blues. The Blues were 26-10-5 at home during the regular season. There's Ron Crawford in the house, and now they got to win a big one. Darcy Kemper, when he's now got a 2.50 goals against average, 904 save percentage. I said earlier in the year that I can't imagine Kemper holding the Stanley Cup over his head. Then he had that spectacular second half, and Joe Sakic looked right for not bringing in another goaltender when Marc-Andre Fleury was available, although Fleury did not look very good when Bill Guerin brought him into Minnesota. In saying that, when he let that rebound from a side shot just be right in front of him when we know that there's an extra attacker out for the Blues, I was appalled. I was just terrible goaltending, and you deserve to be scored against. And I'm a little nervous about him. But you have to be pretty nervous about Ville Husso as well, who had a great regular season, took over the starting job over Binnington, and has now let it slip. In the playoffs, only for Binnington to get hurt, and Husso have to be back in business. 2-4-0, 3.78 goals against average, 884 save percentage. He does not look very good. Both power plays are dynamite. Avs power play 33.3% in the playoffs. Blues power play 32.4% in the playoffs. And I still kind of like the over, but I think this first period is going to be tight. Both coaches are talking about attacking. That's all fine. But we know what happens when everything's on the line. Things get a little tighter. And I expect a tighter first period, and that plus 150 was just too appealing. The implied probability that there won't be 2 goals scored in the first period, to me, it just looked like a must bet. And so I bet it. I'm on the under 1.5 first period at plus 150. Bobano, the floor is yours. West second round, Avalanche Blues. How are you getting paid?
Yeah, I'm staying off the side here in this game because this is tough for me. I pretty much railed on Colorado yesterday about what they did in game 4 of this, or game 5 rather, of this series. I don't know how a team can play that good for 2 periods, and then the third period look timid, look scared, look terrified, look very, very worried to make a play with the puck. It's unfathomable to me. You're in complete control. You're showing you're a better team than the St. Louis Blues. Your best player, Nathan MacKinnon, is dominating every shift on the ice, and you have a 3-0 lead at home, and somehow you don't win that game. And in the third period, it was timid play. It was, hanging back, letting the Blues, roll into the offensive zone with ease. They gained zone entry way too easily. It just looked like a timid team that was expecting the worst to happen. And that's a bad mental mindset to have. And obviously the mental issues are not through this team yet, from 3-4 years now of coming up short in this very round. So that worries me. And if you think I'm going to lay minus 170, I'm not willing to do that. I would say that if you like Colorado and if you trust them more than clearly I do, you'd probably just lay the puck line. You probably do, because we've seen a pattern in this series, other than obviously game 5, which did go to overtime, which was a 1-goal game. But still, even with that game, I believe 9 of the last 11 St. Louis games in the playoffs have been 3 goals or more, the margin. So that's why I think if you like Colorado, don't worry about the money line, take a shot with the puck line. But, I'm at the point with Colorado where I've got to see them finish the deal. This is now becoming a major problem now with what we saw. How they didn't win that, like I say, how they did not win that game. How do you play dominant like that for 2 periods and you play completely the opposite in the third period with all the stakes on the line? It tells me that team's got a little bit of a mental block thing going on. So do I want to lay this price with them on the road? No. Do I think they've learned their lesson from the other night? Maybe a part of it was, hey, we've got a comfortable lead. Maybe we can sit back and nurse this thing home, and maybe they won't do that tonight. They're talking about not doing that tonight. We'll see. But, it's just trouble right now to trust them. On the flip side, I worry that if I take St. Louis, here's Colorado that really has shown for extended parts of this series, especially the last 2 games, that they've been better than St. Louis, where Colorado is not screwing around tonight. And if they bring anything close to the way they did in game 5 and they play it for 60 minutes that way tonight, it's over tonight, this series. It will be done. And so I'm staying off the side. I think there's way too much question marks I have both ways. I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm on the over here, 6.5. It's been a go-to totals bet for me repeatedly in this series. And look, the over's cashed in every game since Ville Husso has taken over as the starting goaltender. 3 starts by him, 3 overs. He's having a tough time. That's all there is to it. He's given up 15 goals in the 3 games that he's started. So that's an average of 5 goals per game. I mean, it's just not been good. He's struggled. He clearly hasn't been the goalie that he was during the regular season. Now, part of that is Colorado's just incredible in terms of the depth, in terms of the 4 lines that they can throw at you. They got their defensemen who are just so brilliant, all of them with their skating ability. They can pinch at every shift, and jump into the play and not have to worry about getting back because they're that good a skater. All of them, Makar, Taves, Byram, go on down the list. They're all tremendous skaters. So that's why they jump into the play every time Colorado's got the puck in the offensive zone, because they know they've got the ability to get back and not get caught. And that makes it very, very difficult to defend this team, because you're not just defending 3 forwards. You're defending 5 people in the offensive zone at all times, including the 2 defensemen. And St. Louis is having a tough time with that. And I think after game 5, Colorado's going to come out storming. And really do what they did in game 5 here in game 6 tonight, and that is get the lead early. And if Colorado does get the lead early, they go up 1-0, and certainly if they go up 2-0, then that's just going to completely open up the game, because St. Louis obviously has to win this game. There is no tomorrow for them. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, Colorado's leading the NHL in the playoffs here in goals for, expected goals for. They're clearly heads above everybody else. St. Louis and Colorado both among the top teams in power play. Like I said, Husso struggled. Darcy Kemper hasn't been nearly as sharp. He's given up 8 goals in the last 2 games. As much as I want to blame the entire team for a collapse the other night, I'd like my goalie to make that save on Tyler Bozak in overtime the other night. Was there a little screen? Okay, but it was a far enough shot out where you've got a chance to pick up the puck and its trajectory before it gets to you, and you didn't. So I do put a little blame on Darcy Kemper for that goal. But nevertheless, I think it sets up well for an over here. And let's keep in mind, too, the third period over could happen as well. It is an elimination game. Those have not been doing as well this year in the playoffs. So I feel better about the full game over 6.5 here, which you can get right now at minus 114.
I found a minus 113 at Pinnacle, so we'll give you that.
All right.
I from every angle that you broke down, I agree with you. And my initial feeling was to move on the over as well. If Colorado wins, by the way, and they play the Oilers, we'll see 7s. Right? Don't you think?
Yeah, you would think they'd have to go up to 7. Will they? Maybe they'll give us a break, and certainly I'll pounce on a 6.5 if they send one out for game 1
immediately.
Immediately. Yeah.
And even when 7s come on the board, I'll take those. And I don't usually, and I've never seen a 7 in my life in a playoff game. Have you?
And I have not. Well, I have. I've many years ago, and it was Philly and Pittsburgh. I think over a decade ago, when it was Claude Giroux in his prime, and it was Crosby, Malkin, Letang
And there
back
was
in
a
the
7.
prime of their era, and they had a 7.5 with one of their playoff games
I
because
don't
we
remember.
started to see some 6-4, 6-5. Every game
Wow.
was like that, and that's when we saw a 7.5. It was a long time ago, though.
Wow. Playoff 7.5. So yes, as soon as if Colorado gets through this round and plays Edmonton, get on that first 6.5 as fast as humanly possible. Back to your total over 6.5. Everything statistically sets up for it.
Yeah.
Except for me, I started thinking about how important this hockey game is. I started thinking about the fear that's crept into the Colorado Avalanche. And if they do get up 2-0, how they're going to be so hard on the forecheck and keeping pucks deep. And so I've switched after sitting with this for a long time to the first period under 1.5. And also, if I had a free bet on the total, I would now complete the full switch and take the under 6.5 at plus money. So I just think there's too much up for grabs here in the playoffs. It's just such a huge game, and that's why I'm on my bet. But I completely understand your bet, and I love the way Sammy Comer's broken this down. He says, are the Avs that team to emotionally get over that choke job and close out a series in St. Louis?
Yeah.
He says, I'll pay to find out. He says, Blues win a tight one, maybe even in OT. He continues that with, everyone said the Blues had no chance in Game 5 with Husso. Sorry, let me pull this up here. Everyone said they had no chance in Game 5 with Husso. I don't think the Avs will be emotionally strong enough to close it out tonight, considering the context of Game 5, but I'd love to be proven wrong. Dan Bonner, sneaky play I like a lot. Braden Shen over a half assist at plus 158, or play it safe on a half point at minus 118. Shen has had an assist in 4 or 5 games versus the Avs, and you can add that he's got an assist in 6 of the past 7 games. There's Nasty Nate in the house. Brent Norris as well. Jay Peasy says, wow, this Canes Rangers under is minus 145 on my book. That's ridiculous. Speaking of which, because we're kind of, and I know we got a big baseball card to get into, but I've been cashing on these unders. I bet them every time in Carolina, and I didn't bet them in the 2 in New York. But I would like to flip the switch in Game 6 and bet the over. I feel like there can be goals in this next game. I think the Rangers are going to throw everything at the net, every single thing, and there'll be odd man rushes the other way. It wouldn't be surprising to me, even if Carolina won Game 6. I don't know if I'm going there, but what do you think of my initial feeling of bucking this under trend in Game 6 over at Madison Square Garden?
Well, if you're ever going to do it, this could be the spot. I mean, it is an elimination game too, and you could have fireworks in the third period, especially if Carolina's leading. Rangers have no tomorrow. They're going to pull the goalie, all that stuff. I've talked about that ad nauseum over the years and why I usually like elimination games over, and especially third periods of elimination games over. But man, that series, it's so difficult. I mean, the goaltending's been great. Ronta's been good. Shesterkin's been excellent. Shesterkin couldn't have done much about anything that went in last night in the loss, and it's just been one of those series where it's been very well defended, and it's been not a whole lot out there for either team in terms of these generous grade A quality scoring chances. And you are talking about Carolina and the Rangers being, I believe, coming into this series, they were 1 and 2 in the league in goals allowed per game in terms of fewest goals allowed per game. So it's played out that way under City, all 5 games. So I'm reluctant, but you do see a couple of 5s out there now. I do see a 5 or 2 at a few of these books, DraftKings including them. So that's 5 in an elimination game is going to be awfully tempting for me to buck that trend as well. But it's not easy.
I'm going to. I've now hit 7 of my last 8 in the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, you got confidence. Do it.
Now that this could go away when 4 goals are scored in the first period of this game here in Colorado.
Well, this could be Edmonton, Calgary, like last night, where it is like 1-0 or tight first period, and then the floodgates open and game flies over the total. I think that's actually something I could envision.
Yeah, Johnny K giving us a 3-2 final score. I really think that this game will be tight. I think we're going to flip the switch here on both of these next 2 games. I think this game will be tighter than people expect, and I think that there will be goals in Madison Square Garden. And at this point, I would probably prefer to go for the big score over 5.5 in that game. But that's the plan. That's the plan right now. I love everybody's insights here in the game. Brent Norris says Blues have all the momentum. This game is crystal clear and great of value. Mike Smith expecting goals. Reich expecting goals, expecting the over 6.5. I get it. Reich says under. Don't switch, Jimmy. No, this is a. I feel quite confident in how I see this series playing out at this point, and that's that the Carolina Hurricanes are if the Carolina Hurricanes score, there's going to be odd man rushes galore. Odd man rushes galore in a series where there's been none. Also, the Carolina Hurricanes power play got off the schneid. Trocheck got off the schneid. Svechnikov scored a beauty for confidence. So, I look, we all have our own way of gambling in the sport that we feel we're best at. I feel like hockey's my best sport, and so I'm making moves in the direction that I am and plan to. Justin Bilbo says, wait and see if the Blues score the first goal, then jump on the Avs to get a better number. If not, just stay off, my opinion. No, I've bet the under first period 1.5 at +150. I love the implied probability on the bet. I can understand Bobano's over 6.5, and I can understand why everybody would expect the over 6.5, but I'm going to be on the other side here. And then I'm going to take the over tomorrow night in Madison Square Garden on Saturday night. Okay. Great to see everybody here. Millsy, Abel A, Justin Bilbo, Vinny, Johnny K, Chief. And I love hearing there's never an argument about, oh, I think you're wrong or anything like that. It's nothing like that. It's just we have different ideas and different angles, and we're all capping together. And I want all of us to succeed. I'm just telling you guys how I'm playing it. Razor Sharp Picks in the house, had a big night last night, says let's do it again, and Cash It Fridays is tonight. Sammy Comer says going to be big on New York Rangers. All right, so locked in. Bobano on the over 6.5 at -113, and he's white hot on this show. And then I am on the first period under 1.5. Under 1.5 at +150. Maurice Walker saying Liverpool, both teams to score. I hope that Jose, because he did hint that he had a couple more plays he wanted to give us for the Champions League final on Saturday. He's given us 2 bets already, which we'll go over. And maybe he gives us a couple more. Let's move on to MLB. And we're coming off a good day. Started poorly, but then we hit 4 of our last 5. And I needed it badly. Very, very badly. What Bobano has done in a very short time is extremely impressive. He got off to a 1-9 start on the show, and he's now 25-24, hitting at 51%, down 0.2 units with an ROI of 0.41%, average line of -102. And he doubled up on the Oakland A's last Friday at +164 first 5, +165 full game, and it was a thing of absolute beauty, Bobano. Let's see what else he's got for us. Let's get right to work. I have made 4 bets on this card. Let's go.
By the way, I got to mention from last Friday. Well, how about that Oakland A's money line last Friday that I said on the show? Oh, well, Paul Blackburn, folks, wake up. All right, wake up and pay attention. Paul Blackburn will make you money right now. What he's doing right now for the Oakland Athletics is impressive. He's pitching as well as anybody at the moment. Will it last? I don't know, but he's made some adjustments. They're clearly working, and he's not being priced like he is pitching right now. Jump on it.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. I mentioned it off the top. It was absolutely beautiful bets by you. And I only got in on the first 5, but it was still glorious guidance for us. All right, let's get to work. We start at 6:40 p.m. Eastern. The San Francisco Giants 24-19, 11-8 on the road at the Cincinnati Reds 14-30, 7-11 at home. We're at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. We will start with the weather, and we have 66 Fahrenheit, 9.2 miles per hour out to left field. Goes down to 7 by the end, and it's always out, and it's always to left field. Let's take a look at the line history in this red spot. Is it possible that this red squad heats up a little bit? There's been a 10-cent move to the Giants. This line only came out at 8:47 a.m. And can anyone confirm that it's Graham Ashcraft? I have Graham Ashcraft as the expected pitcher, and that's what I've capped for. But please let me know if I'm on the wrong track there. Then from a total perspective, it opened up at 8, slightly juiced to the under, and that's where it stands right now. Then we move over to the cash in this spot. And we have just 1,954 tickets in because it wasn't available to bet at a bunch of books without Cincinnati's pitcher announced, but only 6% of the tickets here are on the Reds. Now, I don't think we should dive too much into this because there's only 1,954 tickets in, but somebody's made a huge bet on the Reds. 86% of the cash right now is on the Reds. Somebody's come in with these opening 1,954 tickets and made a huge bet on the Reds. The tickets to the over are 87%, but we don't know the cash line at this point. Carlos Rodon looked spectacular, Cy Young worthy to start the year, and he's come back to earth. He did bounce back from a start 2 ago where he got destroyed. He did have a nice start. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 6 Ks, 4 walks, and 2-1 loss at home to the Padres. He's 4-3 with a 3.43 ERA, 1.16 WHIP, 44 and 2/3, 62 Ks and 17 walks and 2 home runs. There is Big Ragu. He does agree that he does think it's Ashcraft coming off a 5-2 night day on the show. I love it. Mark Schlimberg says he is Ashcraft as well. And Big Ragu last night, 38th anniversary for him and Kelly. Just leading by example in all ways. He comes on, has a winning day on the show, then has his 38th anniversary. Just a leader in
winning in life, winning on the betting board, right?
Absolutely.
Can't get any better than that. Well done, Doc.
Graham Ashcroft made his major league debut last week, and he looked pretty good. He went 4 1/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, no homers, 3 Ks, 2 walks. 24-year-old was a 6th-round pick by the Reds in the 2019 draft. In AAA Louisville, for the Louisville Bats, he started 7 games this season, and he was unbelievable. Like, lights out, unbelievable. He allowed 0 home runs in 30 2/3. The only problem was this whip. So in 7 games started, he goes 1.65 ERA, 1.47 whip because he walked 17 batters in 32 2/3. But he wasn't allowing any hard hits. And he was very, very impressive. Giants versus righties, 252, 730 OPS. Reds versus lefties, 216, 623 OPS. That number is improved. Giants bullpen is falling apart. 4.54 ERA, 1.38 whip, converted 10 of 15 save opportunities. Reds bullpen, 4.663 ERA, 1.37 whip. They've been bad all year. Take it away here, Bobano. First game on the board, Giants Reds.
Well, the Reds aren't suddenly an abomination. We have to point that out, which they were obviously for much of the first month of the year. But look, they're playing a little bit better, and the offense. Well, yesterday it certainly came to life against poor Justin Steele and the Cubs. I mean, almost 3 touchdowns on the board, 20-5 yesterday. They took 2 of 3 from the Cubs at home. I thought they battled the Blue Jays pretty tough. They won the final game of that series in what was Graham Ashcraft's debut there Sunday against the Blue Jays, and Ashcraft in that start wasn't that bad, to be honest with you, for the Reds. Got through 4.1 innings, 2 runs allowed, 4 hits. Not bad for his debut against a team that's capable of hitting. So let's see how he fares here today against San Francisco. A San Francisco team that's, offensively has been pretty solid most of the year. And the last 2 games of that Mets series, 22 runs on the board against Logan Webb, who I do think is a pretty good pitcher, and Jacob Junis, who I do not think is a very good pitcher. So I think definitely you got to give the Sapaki, I should say, that is who they got it against for the Mets yesterday. Junis for the Giants. But yeah, 22 runs the last 2 games for the Giants. They're mashing the ball right now. We'll see how Ashcraft does. You're right. Rodon is struggling. Rodon 5.82 ERA in his last 4 starts. I'm tempted by the Reds here as a dog. A little bit. In this game. The one thing, though, for the Giants is they have the day off. I always like that. When you have the day off before you go east as a West Coast team, they do that. So that's going to help the Reds. And the one thing for the Reds, too, that concerns me, even though I lean in their direction here, is when you score 20 one day, what do you have left in the artillery the next? Sometimes when you have those big explosions offensively, it can be very difficult the next day to match that or come even close to that. But I think there is some value in this number with Ashcraft and the Reds, especially when you consider the fact that Rodon has struggled the last few games for the San Francisco Giants. And the Reds, like I say, they're playing at least a little bit better baseball. So the Reds as a dog here, I don't mind that look.
Yeah, I get it as well. There are some questions about Ashcraft here. Let me where he pitched. Usually I have that written in my notes. For whatever reason, it's not there. So let me pull up that first game, who he was against when he went 4 1/3. It was at Toronto, of course. It was at Toronto. Yep. And he looked good. It looks like Rodon came back in that last start. And I agree with you. After the Reds looked so good offensively, I'm a little hesitant to back them here, especially against Rodon. But value-wise, for sure. What do you think of this total? Do you have any interest
It's
in it?
over or nothing. I mean, San Francisco's an over machine right now. Their offense has been good. Their starting pitching hasn't been as good, and their bullpen has actually been horrible lately. They've got an 8.59 bullpen ERA in the last 10 games. The Giants. In fact, the Reds have the better bullpen the last 10 games, much better. So, and again, we were expecting a pretty mild night in Cincinnati. The weather is starting to warm the last 2 days in the Northeast, the Midwest. So, and the total's only 8. Look at that number. It's only 8. And we're talking Great American Ballpark here, which is a bandbox, especially when that weather starts to warm up in this time of year. So for me, I could only consider the over in this game.
All right. Well, I will just do nothing then at this point. Nothing. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Colorado Rockies 20-24, 6-13 on the road at the Washington Nationals. 16-30, 7-17 at home. We're at Nationals Park in D.C. 75 Fahrenheit at first pitch. 6.3 miles per hour out to left center. Goes up to 7. All the while going out to left center or left. And Bigger Goose says exactly Ian runs in Cincy. CT Bay says Friday dogs. I like Marlins, Tigers, and A's. I've already bet the A's. So I like hearing that. Let's keep rolling here with Rockies Nats. We have Gomber going up against Aaron Sanchez. And Gomber looked good in that last start at home against the Mets. But he hasn't had a great – there's been flashes of excellence, and then he falls off. Let's look at the line history in this spot. We have these Nats opening up at -110. Last night, they moved to -115, a 5-cent move towards the Nationals. And this total being all over the map. The first move, so the line came out at 9, juiced to the under. 3 hours after that, it went down to 8.5. Since then, it's just been getting pounded to the over. It went to 9 at +100, then -105, then -110, then -120. And then 9 minutes ago, they moved it to 9.5. So offense expected. And I wish I was already on this over. I hate that I missed this line move. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. 3,076 tickets in. 58% of the tickets, 83% of the cash on the Rockies and Gomber, expecting Sanchez to get touched. Interestingly enough, 40% of the tickets on the under, 66% of the cash. So a confusing game, as last night's game was. When I saw Marquez versus Corbin, I was like, of course it's going to go over. And then I was like, okay, wait. You know how MLB works, this 3. And then it goes from 8.5 to 8. And I was like, okay, let's just stay off this game. But, it's over hits in the second inning or the third inning? At least the first 5 over hit in that by the second inning. And then, the bullpens played pretty tough to keep it, I believe, a 7-3 final score. Gomber in his last start, as I said, looked good against the Mets. Sanchez in his last start looked good at the Brewers. 5 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 1 K, 2 walks. The 2016 American League ERA champ is a pitcher I don't trust at all that any team in the league could have got for a bag of baseballs in the offseason. Rockies versus righties, 244, 693 OPS. Nats do not hit lefties, 242, 627 OPS. Remember, they hit lefties hard last year, not this year. Maybe that will change. Nelson Cruz has done nothing thus far this year, and Bell's had a terrible start as well. And Soto hasn't had a great start either. He's, hitting 230? He's got 8 home runs or so, though. Rockies bullpen 5.14 ERA, 1.47 whip, converted 14 of 19. Nats bullpen 4.05 ERA, 1.37 whip, have converted 5 of 9. Take it away here, Bobano Rocks Nationals.
Yeah, I'm on the over here. This is my first official play. Over 9, -1. Oh boy, Jesus. I had 9 at I actually had 9 at even money, and now it's 9 juiced, and I'm even seeing 9.5 now.
Yeah.
So let me just do some checking here.
Here, I'll line shop for you. Why don't you talk about why you like
I see over 9 -125. You got which I'd rather take than 9.5 at -110. So if there's some 9s out there and it looks like there's a couple, I'll take the 9. I cashed a ticket with the over with these two teams last night. In fact, I was with Jose last night. Say plays and mentioned liking that with Marquez and with Corbin last night. And I didn't love those two pitchers, and I don't love these two pitchers. That's pretty much it. And look, again, warm weather expected in Washington. as well. And like I said, that whole northeast part of the U.S., we're starting to see the weather warm up. Gomber's numbers aren't great, 4.09 ERA on the road this year, 4.11 ERA on the road. It's not terrible, but he's been up and down. And I think when you look at this matchup, you would think in theory the Nationals are supposed to hit lefties. They've done a great job against lefties the last few years. Not so much this year. Just 236, 3.59 runs per game. And even lately, it hasn't been great against lefties. But I think it's definitely a guy that they can have some success against here in Gomber. They actually have faced Gomber already, the Nationals. And they only scored 2 runs in 6.2 innings in Denver against him. That was on May the 4th. But I like this situation where, you face that same pitcher for the second time in a short span. This is going to be less than a month facing Gomber again. I do believe that they're going to be able to have some better success here. And Aaron Sanchez is, it is what it is with him right now. He's struggling. He's given up home runs. The long ball's been an issue. 5 home runs allowed in the last 5 starts. Each of the last 5 Aaron Sanchez starts have gone over the total as well. He hasn't pitched more than 5 innings in these starts, and that's often a problem as well because this isn't a good Washington bullpen. 4.62 ERA on the last 10. And Colorado's bullpen, we know, is not that good either. So, even if you get Gomber and Sanchez somewhat minimizing the damage, which I'm not sure they will, you got 2 bullpens that can, basically add fuel to the fire late in the game. So it was an over game last night. Numbers moved a bit, but I'm going to come back to it here again tonight with the Rockies and the Nats. Over 9 minus 125 looks to be the best number right now.
Yeah, I can't beat that. The best I could find was minus 129. So lock that in for Bobano. He's on the over 9 at minus 125. Mike Smith saying Gomber going to get touched up today, and Sanchez. I missed the market move, and I'm going to let it go because of it. I'm upset that I did. I should have.
By the way, 6.52 ERA at Nationals Park, is not necessarily a hitter-friendly park. And for Aaron, even though I've liked the overs here the first 2 games of this series, but Aaron Sanchez, 6.52 ERA at home. He's struggling. He's having a tough time.
He is. He did look better at the Brewers, but he's had a poor season. He's not a good pitcher. So we have Bobano making moves here. His first lockdown of the day. He's on the over 9 at minus 125. Let's move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Baltimore Orioles 18-27, 6-16 on the road at the Boston Red Sox 21-23, 10-10 at home at Fenway Park in Boston. Let's see what we are dealing with here from a weather perspective. We have 77 Fahrenheit at first pitch, and the weather is blowing out heavy. 15.2 miles to center, 13.9 after an hour, but it stays at least around 14 to 15 at the end of the game. Heavy wind expected. Let's look at the line history in the Red Sox game. Bradish versus Whitlock. The Red Sox opened up at minus 200. There's been a big move towards the Orioles. Red Sox are now minus 175. So from the Orioles' perspective, they've gone from plus 170 to plus 155. From a totals look, it opened up at 9.5, and at 10:30 this morning, it moved up to 10. It's gone from 9.5 to 10. Let's take a look at the cash flow in the Red Sox game. 3,618 tickets in. We have 74% of the tickets and 77% of the 77% of the tickets and 87% of the cash on the Boston Red Sox, and then 60% of tickets, 90% of cash on the under, which is very confusing as we've seen it go from 9.5 to 10. Johnny Gonzalez says Red Sox are hot right now. I think a young Bradish gets touched up again. Hammer the Red Sox. Mike Smith is on Boston minus 1.5. Jay Peasy says how many homers does Story hit today? There's Gary Tenebra in the house. Great to see you, Gary. Mr. Heat says it's Bogart's day. Eric Jones on Bo Sox run line at plus 106. And by the way, both Razor Sharp Picks and CT Bays at the first Saturday of the year at Delaware Park tomorrow. If anybody wants to hang with our guys tomorrow, Delaware Park, Razor Sharp Picks and CT Bays, amongst others. I think it's going to be a great, great day over there. All right, let's talk about the spot. Bradish coming off a 6-1 loss at home to the Rays. He went 5 1/3, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 homers, 5 Ks, 2 walks. 5.74 ERA, 1.35 WHIP, 27 Ks and 26 2/3, but he's allowed 6 home runs in those 26 2/3. Garrett Whitlock coming off a bad start at home over against the Mariners. They ended up winning that game 6-5, but he went 3 innings, allowed 10 hits, 5 earned runs, no homers, 3 Ks, no walks. Kyle Hintley expecting a Garrett bounce back spot. And he's been good this year. 3.58 ERA, 1.16 WHIP, 40 Ks and 32 2/3. And take it away here in Orioles Red Sox.
Yeah, I was surprised by Whitlock last. I think he's a really good pitcher. So to see what happened from him last time out was jarring, to say the least. It was surprising. I mean, he just got ripped apart by Seattle. 5 runs, 10 hits, only lasted 3 innings. It was alarming because this guy's been really good out of the bullpen. Obviously, he's been one of the key relievers for Alex Cora to rely on here the last year or two. And since he's been transitioning to a bit of a spot starter type of role, he's pitched well in that role. He had to shut out the Rays in 4 innings. He gave up just 1 run to the Blue Jays in 3 innings, 2 runs to the Angels in 5 innings, 3 runs to the Braves in 3 innings, 2 runs and 5 to Houston. So prior to that start, he had done a pretty good job. I think he's probably going to bounce back. I think he's a good pitcher. I'm willing to look at that more as a one-off, and look at what that one start did to his ERA at home. 4.96, and it's mostly an inflated ERA because of that one rough outing he had against Seattle. So I think he's going to bounce back, though. I think he's going to pitch a lot better here. Bradish, on the other hand, 2 starts in a row. He's really struggled. The Orioles have lost his last 2 starts against the Yankees, the Rays, 9 runs in 9.2 innings. So he's given up a run per inning. That's never a good sign. He faced Boston last month at the end of April, 3 runs, 5 hits, 6 innings. They lost that game 3-1. I like Boston here first 5. I'm going to make that an official play. I think that makes sense. They're playing good baseball. They're starting to finally heat up. Boston play better. They're 7-1 in their last 8 games. They took 2 of 3 from Chicago. Even with that horrendous start by Whitlock in that game, they came back to beat Seattle. They swept Seattle 4 straight. So, and they took 2 of 3 from Houston in that at Fenway as well. So, no, they're playing well. 7-2 their last 9, 8-2 in their last 10 games. We knew this team was going to, I think, eventually at some point put some kind of run together after a really disappointing, frustrating start to the season, considering what the expectations are. But now they're getting closer to that 500 mark. Bradish has regressed the last 2 starts. I think Whitlock is primed for a bounce back. So for me, this is going to be Boston Red Sox -0.5, -125.
-125 for Bobano. First 5 -0.5 on the Red Sox, -125. I'm staying off this spot. A Biggeroo says Dirty Water is playing ball. They are. But, Pinnacle's moved this now down to -166. Everybody on the Red Sox, all the money coming in on the Red Sox, and yet the market's now moving up to 30 and 35 cents the other way. I can understand it, but it just doesn't all correlate for me. So I'm going to stay off of it and cheer you guys on. Ian Cameron, Red Sox, first 5 -0.5, -125. Let's move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Next up, Cleveland Guardians, 18-23, 10-15 on the road at Detroit Tigers, 16-28, 10-13 at home. We're at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. We will start with the weather down there in Detroit. It's still cold up here. Just annoying. It's supposed to start warming up next week, but it's May 27th and it's cold. And the weather sucks in Detroit as well. 64 Fahrenheit at first pitch, light rain for at least the first hour at this point. 6.1 miles per hour out, and then it completely dies off. That's in Detroit this evening. Then we'll go over to the line history at Comerica against Bieber and Faedo. We have a 10-cent move to the Tigers. They open up at +145. They're now +135. And then from a totals perspective, it opens up slightly juiced to the over, and there's been a 5-cent move to the over. It's now -120 to the over 7. We take a look at where the cash lies in this spot. We have 4,312 tickets in. By the way, there are 3 teams, we always talk about this, with full line value in Sports Insights, and no one else has a half, some slivers. But 3 teams have full line value. Tell you right now, that's the Cardinals, Diamondbacks, and Royals. And we'll talk about that when we talk about those games. So 4,312 tickets in. 33% of the tickets are on the Tigers, and 64% of the cash is on the Tigers, and a 10-cent move towards them. So that all makes sense line-wise. Then 73% of tickets, 72% of cash on the over. 73% of tickets, 72% cash on the over. And we've only seen a 5-cent move on that over, and it's still sitting at 7. Real Deal Prime saying 7 is a low number, right? Took it up to 7.5. And Christopher Comentini liking the under in the first 5 innings. Eric Jones on the Cleveland Guardians run line. Eric Jones giving us either a 5-2 or 4-1 final score. Shane Bieber on the bump. 1-3, 3.55 ERA, 1.25 WHIP, 45 2/3, 46 Ks, 14 walks, 4 homers. Last start was a 4-2 loss at home against these very Tigers. He went 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 of which were earned, 10 Ks and 2 walks. Faedo's last start was against these Guardians in the same game. He went 5 1/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 2 Ks, 2 walks. He's got a 3 ERA, 1.33 WHIP, and I love this guy. He was supposed to come up with the other studs, the Treek Screwballs, Matt Mannings. He was supposed to come up with them. He had Tommy John surgery, so he came up a little slower. But he can pitch. Guardians versus righties, 254, 727 OPS. Tigers versus righties is 207, 582 OPS. Both bullpens have been lights out. Lights out. Guardians bullpen, 3.27 ERA, 1.05 WHIP, converted 8 of 11 saves. This Tigers bullpen, 2.84 ERA, 1.08 WHIP, converted 10 of 14 saves. Take it away here, Bobano. Guardians, Tigers.
Yeah, I don't have much here. This is a pass, at least as of now for me. Detroit, give them credit. The struggling team, struggling offense, but they mustered up enough. And look, they got a key hit and a walk-off last night to beat Cleveland. So give them credit for that. It's been an offense that's obviously had a tough time, but they did enough to help out Skubal, who was, again, very, very good. And I talked about it with Jose that I leaned to Detroit yesterday. Didn't pull the trigger because I was worried about and I didn't love the price. Like, they were minus 135, minus 140. They can barely hit out of a wet paper bag, but at least the lean was in the right direction there with the Tigers. It could be a bounce back here for Bieber and the Cleveland Guardians. We'll see about that. Bieber, actually, to be quite honest with you, he's been a little bit more susceptible a couple of these starts. He had a really bad start against Toronto. We're a little bit concerned about his velocity ticking down a little bit, but, he bounced back. He was very good against Minnesota, 1 run in 6 innings. Pretty solid against Detroit when he faced them just 5 days ago, 3 runs, 6 hits, 7 innings. We'll see how he fares here. By the way, he does have a 7-3 mark in his last 10. Cleveland is 7-3 in Bieber's last 10 starts against Detroit. Faedo here, he faced Cleveland last weekend as well. 2 runs, 6 hits, 5.1 innings. Faedo's numbers aren't that bad. Overall, 3 ERA, 3.6 at home. But again, 0-2 in the starts for Faedo at home. Bieber, 2.45 ERA. He's actually done a nice job, 3-2. I lean Cleveland here, but do I want to lay $1.50 on the road or take him first 5? No. So it's a pass for me.
It's a pass for me too. They both pitched well against these, against the same lineup they're going to face here 5 days later. Yeah. It makes me a little uncomfortable. I was the exact same way with you in Skubal yesterday. I wanted to back Skubal every start, but I was like, I just can't do it here. And when they were up 3-0, I was like, oh, God, I was so angry with myself. And then
they coughed up the lead, and you're like, oh, geez, maybe it's a good thing I stayed off.
I was only going to take
pulled it out. They found a way.
But I was only going to take first 5, and I would have probably had to take first 5 minus a half. Because of the juice that was associated with the bet. So it looked like I was thankful that I stayed off in the end. A lot of talk about this Heat Celtics game. We have Derl joining us fresh off cashing with the Warriors. He's joining us next. And don't forget.
And he had a hell of a call on the Pub Hub yesterday with Kevon Looney double-double, and it was like plus 320. Unbelievable job by Darryl.
Yeah, he just does great work here. I mean, we talk about how spectacular your record is here in NHL. His record in NBA, 170 on the show. 100 wins, 70 losses, 58.8%, plus 25.22 units, ROI plus 14.84%, average line minus 104. So he'll be joining us for the NBA. But we got a ton of baseball to talk here, so let's get back to this spot. I agree. I'm not comfortable making a move on this Guardians-Tigers game. So we move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Yankees, Rays. Yankees 32-13, 15-6 on the road. Rays 26-18, 15-10 at home. Big Ragu went 5-2 yesterday, but both Ragu and Seihei liked the Rays, and I completely understood it. And I love watching these two teams play. And the Yankees are now sitting at 32-13 with Stanton on the IL, Chapman on the IL. Jameson Taillon, 4-1, 2.95 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, 42 2/3, 34 Ks, 5 walks, 4 homers. Taillon, of course, drafted right behind Bryce Harper in 2010, right in front of Manny Machado. It's a wild draft, that 2010 draft. I don't know if you remember the Yankees. They drafted their shortstop of the future out of Rochester, Cito Culver, in that draft, who never hasn't played a game. He's in the independent league now.
Yeah.
There's some funny guys in there, and that Asher Wachachowski is in that first round as
Where the
well.
hell did he go? All I remember was fading him with the Orioles for a little bit there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his claim to fame.
Yeah, but what a top 3 in that draft. Harper, Taillon, Machado. Last start for Taillon, 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 7 Ks, 1 walk, and a 3-1 loss at home versus the White Sox. He's pitching very good, and he's always shown this ability, when the Pirates had him rolling, and then, he got hurt, and he's coming back now and looking like a top-end reliever. Jeffrey Springs on the other side, the lefty, 2-1, 1.32 ERA, 0.80 WHIP. He's being dynamite. 27 Ks in 27 1/3, just 7 walks and 1 home run allowed. In his last start, 5 2/3, 1 hit, no earned runs, 7 Ks, 4 walks, and a 6-1 win at the Orioles. The Yankees are hitting 235, 747 OPS versus lefties, while the Rays are hitting 239, 703 OPS versus righties. Yankees bullpen 3.13 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, being very good even without Chapman. Rays bullpen being very good, 3.35 ERA, 1.12 WHIP. But look at the back end. They've converted just 12 of 22 saves. And it's something we often see with the Rays because with their advanced analytics, they put these incredible bullpens together. But it costs money to have that guy at the back of the bullpen that's going to close out the games in the high pressure situations. That shit costs money, and that's not a Rays thing to do, is to pay a lot of money for that spot. Let's take a look at the line history and then the cash flow. I can't wait to watch this game. Obviously, up here, everybody keeping an eye on the AL East, and I am going to be back in the Blue Jays. There's been a 20-cent move to the Rays. They opened up at minus 105. Now they're sitting at minus 125. From a total perspective, it opened up at 7.5. At 10:39, it dropped to 7, and it only lasted there for 45 minutes before it was right back to 7.5, juice to the under. When we go over to the money in this spot, we have 4,173 tickets in, 44% of the tickets, 53% of the cash on the Rays. That makes sense. Market's moving towards them. 47% of tickets, 54% of the cash on the under. Sort of a coin flip with the total. Take it away, Bobano. AL East battle here. First place Yankees against second place Rays.
Yeah, I'm staying off the side. I mean, when you look at it, Taillon's pitched well lately, especially on the road. To very good numbers. 3.45 ERA, 3-0 the Yankees in his 3 road starts. Taillon is on a stretch right now of giving up 2 runs or less now. Going back to, I think, in every start, or except one. One, he gave up 3 runs. Other than that, he's given up 2 or less in every start. He's been good, and they've been winning consistently with Taillon on the mound. I ain't going against Taillon right now. He's pitching well. But this young Jeffrey Springs lefty for the Tampa Bay Rays, he's been pretty darn good too. I mean, back-to-back shutouts against the Blue Jays and Baltimore in his last 2 starts. Hasn't given up a run in the last 10.1 innings in those 2 starts. His numbers at the Trop, like with most of these Rays pitchers, usually are pretty good. 0.71 ERA. The Rays are 2-0 in his 2 home starts this year. I mean, these are 2 pitchers I just don't want to go against, and 2 teams that I probably don't want to go against either. They're both pitching well. I would lean first 5 under, if anything, in this game. I think that's probably about as strong a stance as I've got, but it's a game that's going to be a good one. I'll sit back and watch it. I'd lean, again, just like yesterday with Jose, and I said I lean Tampa because of the price you're getting with them at home. This feels that same way. Like you're laying a very, very small price with them at home. That feels like some pretty good value for the Rays, who have a 15-10 home record, by the way. But the Yankees are playing really good. And the Yankees have I think, one of the better road records right now in baseball, 15-6. So they've been very good away from home. I know for a long time this Yankees team could not win at Tropicana Field. This was a place where they struggled over and over again. But right now, they get the big win last night. They're playing really well. Taillon's won it. They've won every road start for Taillon this year. So it's a game I just rather not bet either side. I'll lean first 5 under.
The first 5 under is a 3.5 at plus 105 here, bet 365. I could build the 4 would cost me minus 137.
Yeah,
That's expensive.
that is.
I can understand wanting to back the Rays. I can. I really, really can. This is a nice price for them here. The first 5, what's the first 5 move to? It's minus 125 now. So what's that? That move has gone for the full game money line move is moved 20 cents. I might have missed it. Cheshire Cat says Yanks at plus 105 is so tempting. Lance Rose says value with the Yankees. Justin Bilbo says, let's be honest, Yankees at plus money might just take it because of the line. Think that's a lot of value with their firepower. All right, I am leaning to Jeffrey Moore saying Rays spot for sure. I'm leaning towards the first 5 under.
See, I prefer the idea of the Rays off a loss at home with a pretty good pitcher in Springs. And Tyone's really good right now, and they've been winning with Tyone. That's the concern. But just from a spot perspective, I do prefer this spot for the Rays at home after losing and getting drubbed pretty handily last night in the series opener. And Springs is a capable pitcher, and even if he doesn't pitch deep into the game, you've got a slew of relievers that are capable, as always, with this Rays team. So I do lean Rays. If I were to bet the side, I'd lean slightly to Tampa, but I'm not in a rush to step in front of Tyone or the Yankees. Not enough to pull the trigger.
No, not enough. But I think I still move. I think I move on that first 5 under 3.5 at plus money.
No.
At this point, I'm leaning towards that. I'll have to see if the steam keeps coming towards the over because it went to 7 and then back up to 7.5. One more just look at this cash flow in this spot. We have 4,211 tickets in. From a total perspective, 51% of the tickets on the under, 54% of cash on the under. It's bouncing from 7.5 to 7. Domigan says, I like this first 5 under, waiting to see if total gets better. Yeah, I'm interested in that first 5 under.
I agree. I lean that way. I'm not a big under guy, but this is an under that stuck out to me. First 5 under, that is.
So I have 4 bets.
Although I should point out, with these 2 bullpens, this is a game where I don't trust many teams with a full game under. But if you're going to trust 2 teams with a full game under, it would be these 2 teams. These are 2 very good bullpens. Rare these days.
Yeah. I also get a little. I want to trust the bullpens. I trust the bullpens less and less as the series goes on. I think everybody is agreeing with that. Because you get to see the same reliever a second time after watching him the day before. Yep. I prefer a full game unders on the first game of a series if my capping leads me towards the under. But with all that being said, I agree. I agree that it's back. We're back to unders in this game here. So I'm okay, and I like the fact that I can get that 7.5. And is that 7.5 juiced for me here?
Yeah, minus 120 with the 7.5. Yeah, to the under.
Franco White says, "Where's Noli Knows?" Noli Knows. We're trying to get him more involved here with MLB. He was busy at the top of the season, but
he's a busy guy. I know because we've tried to get him on shows in the past, and yeah, he's busy.
But we'll get him. We'll get him involved. I promise you that. And I did reach out even like 2 days ago trying to get him involved. So we will. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. I think I'm moving on those unders. Jojo Rich saying full game is the only way he'd look. Okay, we move on to 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia Phillies 21-24, 10-11 on the road at New York Mets 29-17, 13-8 at home. There's Unc Oliver in the house. What up, Unc, my guy? We're in Citi Field in Queens, New York, and we have that always fascinating situation when the pitcher gets his first start after signing a new contract, which generally does not go well. Let's see what the wind and weather is like in Citi Field. 68 Fahrenheit and light rain to start it off, and it's blowing out double digits. 11.8 miles out to center, goes up to 12.2, a low of 10.3 miles per hour. Then we'll go to the line history here. Phillies, Mets. Let's see what we're dealing with. Let me just grab it here. Oh, is Eflin not pitching? They have someone else here pitching. Let me just double check this. Does everybody have Eflin here, or am I? Do you have Eflin?
No, I see Falter. Nope, Falter.
Yeah. Okay, so Falter is pitching. Well, that's going to mess up my capping. I was thinking that it was Eflin. I can't talk about Cookie Carrasco, so that has messed with me here. But the line that came out at 5:08 p.m. yesterday, I imagine, was expecting Eflin. So there's been a 25-cent move towards the New York Mets since it came out, and it's now minus 150. From a totals perspective, we have it opening up at 8 juice to the under. It's now 8 juice to the over. So I will get some Falter stats here coming in a second. CT Bay says, I don't bet the Mets versus a lefty starter. Wait until tomorrow as they smash Eflin. So Eflin will be moving tomorrow. That's what CT Bay is saying. There's my man Good in the house, and there's LJ from H-Town as well. Carrasco, last start, 5 1/3, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 4 Ks, no walks, and a 5-1 win at Colorado. He's been good this year, 46 1/3, 39 Ks, just 7 walks, only 3 homers allowed. Phillies are hitting 248, 710 OPS versus righties. Mets are smashing righties as well, even more. 273, 754 OPS. Mets bullpen much better than the Phillies bullpen. Take it away here, Bobano, Phillies, Mets, and I'll grab some Falter information.
Yeah, Bailey Falter, I don't trust him. But put it that way. I think he's going to falter tonight, if you ask me. Now, I know the Mets' numbers against lefties aren't as good, and he's got, a 3.75 ERA coming into this start, but his xERA, his FIP, all of that is higher. Like his xFIP and xERA, they're up almost 5. So to me, this is a guy that I don't trust him. I don't. I know that the Mets definitely have an issue sometimes against lefties. Carrasco's been good, no question. Carrasco coming into this start pretty solid overall. He's been great at Citi Field, 2.16 ERA in this ballpark this year. Only 2-2 the Mets in his 4 starts, but he's pitched well enough to lead them to victory in pretty much all of them. He had one really bad game against St. Louis, April 27th, and really other than that, 1-0, 2-0, 2, 4, and 1. In terms of the runs allowed in every other start besides that one where he got ripped apart by the Cardinals a little bit. So, this is definitely a Mets spot for me. I'm debating whether I want to go full first. I like the first half, full game split. I'll probably end up going with first half, even money I see pretty much for the first half, or for the first 5 innings, I should say, in this game. So that's probably what I'm going to go with. I'll make that one official right now. First 5 innings, -0.5 at +100 at Bet Online. Yeah, Bet Online's got -0.5 +100 for the Mets' first 5 innings. And I'm also going to go with the -130, or what is it? No, -148 is the best price I see right now at Win Sportsbook for the full game money line. So it's going to be a first 5 -0.5 and a full game at -148 for me, split.
Interesting. Falter's just had one start. It was 16 days ago at the Mariners. That's the last time he was pitching in the show. Let's pull up what he was doing here in the minors. Let me just grab it here. Bailey Falter. Let's see what we're dealing with. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Against the lefty. Grab his minor league stats and see what he is. So 5th round pick in the 2015 draft out of high school. And in the minors so far this year with the Iron Pigs of Lehigh Valley, he's had 3 starts. He's gone 10 1/3, and he's not allowed to run. 17 Ks and 1 walk. Let's go to his game log here. See if has he started since his last let's see what we're talking, 2022 game log. Has he pitched since 16 days off?
He's been off for a while. Let me just double check. I don't believe he has, though. I think so again, you're talking about a guy that's completely out of his pitching rhythm. If that is indeed the case with Falter coming into this game. So that's another concern you've got if you're Philadelphia.
I can't get a minor league game log for some reason. I wonder if anyone could here. I thought I was going to be able to here at Baseball Reference, but it doesn't look like I'm able to. I should, though. Here, let me see. Give me a game log. Yeah, they're not giving it to me. Okay, only a major league game log.
Yeah.
Okay, so not going to be able to get it there. So interesting. I'm going to stay off this. I'm going to have to study Falter a little more. But no fear for Bobano. He's on the Mets first 5 -1/2 at +100. Abel also on the Mets. Johnny K on the other side with the Phillies. The Gas Report giving us a 2.70 ERA on the road for Falter. Eric Jones also on Mets money line. Dommy Gunn took the over 8.5. Dommy Gunn, who knows this team inside and out, the over 8.5. Huh. I will put that here for my notes. Dommy over 8.5. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Next up, 7:20 p.m. Eastern. Marlins at the Braves, and this was a spot where I came very close to moving on Ian Anderson in the Braves, but I saw the line history moving towards the Marlins, and it had me stumped. A 10-cent move, not a huge one, but a 10-cent move to the Marlins. And at the time, there was only a 5-cent move. It was this morning. So there's been another 5-cent move at 11:15 a.m. So we have 10 cents to the Marlins. There's only 2,458 tickets in, and it's all Braves money. And so that just gave me pause and made me decide, let's talk it out with everybody before you move on. 72% of the tickets, 74% of the cash here on Ian Anderson and the Atlanta Braves. Let's take a look at the weather here in Atlanta. We have, give me a second here, 76 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 10.6 miles per hour out to left field. It dies down to 5.2 by the end of the game. It dies to about 6 at an hour in. Johnny Gonzalez, it says love the over. Okay. Love the over here. Are you talking about this one here, Johnny, with Marlins Braves? Trevor Rogers' last start was ugly, and it was at home versus these Braves. He went 4 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 homers, 2 walks, 5 Ks. It was ugly. He's had a bad year this year. 5.20 ERA, 1.51 WHIP, and Johnny all over this over. Ian Anderson, his last start, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 5 Ks, 2 walks, and a 6-3 win at the Rangers. He hasn't been as good as he was last year. His K to walk ratio, not very good. 31 strikeouts, 20 walks, but he's only allowed 4 homers in 42 innings, 4.07 ERA. The Marlins, 254, 735 OPS first righties. They hit righties, and Braves hit lefties, 247, 59 OPS. But both bullpens have been very good, and very good of late, especially. Take it away here, Bobano, 7:20 p.m. Eastern, Marlins Braves.
I lean Miami. I do like this over, and that's an official play at 9 for me. Over 9. It looks like you can get minus 108 at Bet Online with it. Let's see if we can take a look. It's actually minus 104 Pinnacle. We'll go with that. Over 9 minus 104 Pinnacle. Rogers does have a good road ERA, 1.29, which is interesting because obviously at home he's struggled this year, but on the road he's been very good. But he's coming off, 2 of the last 4 starts have been really poor. Again, both of those were at home, but he's definitely had some struggles this year. He's been better on the road, but here in Atlanta, I don't know if he'll fare that well. Let's keep in mind he faced Atlanta May 20th, just 7 days ago, and he got roughed up. 5 runs, 8 hits, 4 innings, 3 home runs, 2 walks. I don't trust Ian Anderson. Ian Anderson struggled. He gave up 4 runs, 7 hits, 6 innings the last start against these Marlins. His overall numbers this year haven't been good. You're right. He has declined a little bit. 4.07 ERA. At home, he's been really roughed up. 6.92 ERA here in Atlanta this year. That's not good. That's concerning as well. And you wondered, maybe I should talk this out, Jimmy, about your Braves stance. Well, Anderson's 0-2 this year against Miami. He faced them April 23rd, 3 runs, 6 hits, 5 innings. And the last start where he gave up 4 runs, 7 hits, and 6 innings. Miami won both of those games. So I do lean to the dog here, the Marlins. But I like the over even more. And to me, the total's the stronger look. So that's what I'm on.
Over 9 and minus 104. These splits give me pause. Why are you taking the full game instead of the first 5 with these bullpens the way they are?
Yeah, you could. I mean, I certainly wouldn't talk anyone out of it. There's definitely 2 teams that have had some pretty good bullpens. I still don't think the Braves bullpen in particular is phenomenal. I think I think at some point you're going to see some left. Look, the numbers have been good so far from the Braves bullpen. You can't complain. 3.29 ERA. I like the Marlins bullpen. I mean, I think I like the Marlins bullpen more to sustain what they've done so far this season than the Braves. So if you want to target just the starting pitchers, I wouldn't talk you out of that, but I'll go with the over at 9.
The over full game at 9. And you're right. I mean, these guys, Aguilar against Anderson, 357, Jazz hitting 385.
Well, the Braves have had their way against Rogers. That's why, you look at it and you say, well, he's got a 1.29 ERA on the road this year. Maybe you got to back him. I can't do it against Atlanta. That's why I lean, but I don't trust Anderson every bit as much here, if not more than Rogers. So it is dog or pass, but that's why I veered to the over.
Acuna 4 for 8 with a homer and 3 ribbies. Darno 4 for 8 with a homer and 2 ribbies. Swanson 5 for 9 with a homer and 2 ribbies.
And keep in mind, too, last night the Braves lost. They had no Acuna. They had no Ozuna in the lineup, 2 of their bigger bats. And it pissed me off because I had already bet Atlanta in that game with Kyle Wright. And I'm like, geez, you got 2 of your bigger bats now out of the lineup. And they looked like a lineup without 2 of their bigger bats last night. Couldn't hit a lick.
All right. I need more time with that Marlins Braves spot. As I said, I have made 4 bets on this card. I know we haven't hit them yet, but they're coming. And this was one I had interest in and let go of immediately. And that's the Royals Twinkies. Expecting a nice performance from Keller and Ober after they had just seen the opposition was a questionable decision, and then seeing the market move that first 5. So last night, the first 5 under 4 was at minus 105. Then when I woke up this morning, that first 5 under 4 was at plus 105. And then after I'd capped for a few hours, went back to the game, it had moved to 4.5. So I'm happy that I didn't move on it here. CT Bays, by the way, saying Acuna likely out tonight for that, and Christopher Company confirming that he will be out tonight. Brad Keller, first Bailey Ober. Let's go with the weather at Target Field. 75 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 8.6 miles per hour, right to left across the diamond. It dies down to about 5.8, but it stays right to left across the diamond. Then we'll look at the line history in this Twinkies spot. We have, there we go. We have a 5-cent move to the Kansas City Royals. They opened up plus 165. They moved to plus 160. From a totals perspective, it opens up at 8, and it moved to 8.5. The first move was, I guess, no, it's always been sort of slightly moving towards the over. It's moved to 8.5 at 10:19 a.m. this morning. Take a look at the money and see if it follows suit with the over, and maybe not many tickets on the Twins here, and then that would all make sense. What the hell? Oh, there we go. Sorry. Okay, so this is the first game that we've hit where we have a team that Sports Insight says has full line value, and there's 3 of them, and there's no one with half. There's a few slivers and then 3 with full, and that's Keller and the Royals. Keller, is he the ace of this staff? It's a very, very, very difficult question if he's the ace. Certainly not from this picture here, Helen Brad Keller. But is he the ace of this staff? When we look at where the cash lies here, we have 4,627 tickets in, and it's all Minnesota cash. 86% of the tickets, 89% of the cash, and we see a 5-cent move to the Royals. And then we see 51% of tickets on the under, 45% cash on the under. So I'm not entirely sure, other than the bad performances. And Bailey Ober didn't have a bad performance. It was just Brad Keller. So in a 9-2 loss at home last week, he goes 7 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, no homers, 4 Ks, 3 walks. Bailey Ober, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 4 Ks, 1 walk, and a 7-6 win at the Royals. Neither team hits righties. Royals 235, 663 OPS. Twins 238, 696 OPS. Royals bullpens looked awful. 4.76 ERA, 1.46 WHIP. Twins bullpen has been good. 3.69 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. Take it away here, Bobano. Royals, Twins.
Not nearly as good lately, though, the Twins bullpen, including last night where they gave up the game late and they ended up losing to the Royals in the opener of this series. So, but overall, still the numbers are good. I'm just saying lately we've not quite seen the Twins bullpen nearly as good. But I definitely lean to a first 5 look with the Twins here. -0.5, a bounce back after a really tough loss. I'm going to make that official, actually. I'm going to go ahead and make it official. No sitting on the fence for me. Allowed. So we'll go with the Twins here, -0.5, -120. Let me just quickly check to see if we can beat that. It looks like no, -0.5 for the first 5 innings, -117 at Pinnacle. Yes, we can. There we go. -0.5, -117 first 5 for the Twins here. Yeah, Keller, I don't trust. 0-3 in his last 3 starts. He's supposed to be the ace of this staff. We've said that for 2 years, and he doesn't look like it. at least not in my opinion. We were waiting for that consistency. It's not necessarily there one start to the next. The last 10 starts, or the last 3 starts rather, 0-3, and he's given up 13 runs in the last 19.2 innings. That's not nearly good enough. 3 homers allowed in those starts as well. Against the Twins, he's lost each of his last 2 starts. He faced them just 6 days ago, and they lost 9-2. He gave up 4 runs on 5 hits. Ober on the mound here for the Twins. By the way, they're winning with Ober on the mound. 4-1 in his 5 starts this year are the Minnesota Twins. He's given up just 3 total runs in the last 13.2 innings of work for him. He's won both of his starts here in Kansas City at Kauffman. No, this is in Minnesota, my bad. But he's 2-1 in the 3 starts in his career against Minnesota, or against Kansas City, Bailey Ober. So, and a bounce back spot too. Frustrating loss. They led majority of that game. They ended up blowing it late. I think Twins bounce back here. Reasonable price in the first 5. So -0.5, -117 for the first 5, Minnesota.
You got it, Bobano. Bobano back in the Twinkies. And I'm off this one. Let's move on to 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Milwaukee Brewers 29-16, 15-10 on the road at St. Louis Cardinals 24-20, 11-10 at home. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. We'll start with the weather at Busch. 64 Fahrenheit. It's cold in St. Louis tonight. 6 miles per hour out to right field. It dies down to 4.4 and 4.3. We'll take a look at the line history in this spot. Woodruff versus Hudson. There's been a 5-cent move to the St. Louis Cardinals as home dogs, opening up +125 now at +120. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 7.5, and then at 9:14 this morning, it moved to 7, and it was +100 to the under, and now it's -105 to the under. So just constant moves towards the under, and a 5-cent move towards the home dog. Let's see if the money follows suit here. And this is it. This is game 2 with a team with full line value. And it is the Cardinals. 2,648 tickets in. 53% of tickets, 66% of cash on those Cardinals in Dakota Hudson. Then 70% of cash and 73% of tickets on the over. Yet it's moved to the under. By the way, Viper NB also with the Twins first 5 -0.5 as well. Here we go. Woodruff and the Brew Crew, 15-10 on the road against the Cardinals, who are 24-20, but 11-10 at home. Not a very good home record. Sammy Commerce's Cards all day. Woodruff last start, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo shot, 6 Ks, no walks, and a 5-1 win at home versus the Nationals. He's not looked very good this year. 4.76 ERA, 1.29 WHIP. They are 5-2, or he is 5-2, and he's got 49 Ks and 39 2/3. So he's showing signs of looking excellent. Mike Smith says they're expecting thunderstorms in that Nationals game. May get delayed or postponed. Thank you for letting us know that, Mike, my guy. Dakota Hudson got touched up in his last start. 7-6 extra inning loss at the Mets, but we know what the Mets do to righties. 4 2/3, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 Ks, 2 walks, but he's got 3.60 ERA, 1.35 WHIP. He's just not getting strikeouts when he needs them, and his K to walk ratio is terrible. 22 Ks and 19 walks. So 19 walks, but just a 1.35 WHIP. Brewers versus righties, 243, 739 OPS. Cardinals do not hit righties hard, 246, 692 at OPS. And both bullpens, well, the Brewers bullpen, 3.38 ERA, 1.26 WHIP, but it'll keep getting better, and it will be among the elite of the league. Cardinals bullpen, 3.58 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. Got off to a great start, scuffled for a little bit, starting to get its act together. Take it away here, Bobano. Brewers, Cardinals.
Oh, boy, this is all over the place because Hudson's got really good numbers long-term at Busch Stadium, this year included. But, man, his peripherals don't look good at all. I mean, his overall ERA looks solid, right? When you look at it, 3.6 ERA, it's not bad. Yeah, but his xFIP and his xERA, they're around 5. So there's some kind of disconnect going on here, and maybe he's going to be one of those. There's always these pitchers that are these outliers where they consistently outperform their metrics, outpitch their metrics. Their metrics say they stink, and yet somehow start in and start out, they're doing all right. That could be Dakota Hudson, kind of like we saw Young. Remember that pitcher that everyone was fading him every game? His terrible advanced numbers, but he just somehow kept the ball in the park years ago. Hudson's kind of like that, but I'm worried about him. I am. I think at some point, you walk that tightrope, you're going to get hit. Woodruff, on the other hand, he's not had the year that we thought. Obviously, he was terrific last year, 4.76 ERA this year. On the road, up at 9 ERA on the road. He's actually pitched okay at times in Milwaukee, but you look at these road starts, 7 runs at Wrigley in 3.2 innings against the Cubs, 4 runs, 7 hits, 4 innings in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. That's not even an overpowering lineup by any stretch. Cincinnati, 6 runs, 8 hits, 4.1 innings. Against Miami, 3 runs, 5 hits, 5 innings. He labored through that start. So he's been absolutely dreadful on the road, Brandon Woodruff this year. So I like over here. I'm going to take a shot with it. We're talking 7. We're not asking for a huge slugfest here. It's 7 minus 115 with this total. I don't trust those advanced numbers of Hudson, and I don't trust him to sustain what he's been doing, considering those ghastly looking advanced numbers with all of his advanced ERA, FIP, XFIP, way higher than his ERA. So I don't trust Hudson long term. But how do you trust Woodruff on the road? He's been absolutely blown up repeatedly away from Miller Park this year. So for me, it's over 7 minus 115 with this one.
I like your look. I was leaning towards moving on the Cardinals, at least first 5. I went on to the batter versus pitcher stats, and Woodruff, Arenado hitting 188 against them with no homers and 16 at-bats. Goldschmidt hitting 222 with no homers and 27 at-bats, just 1 RBI. 4 RBIs from Arenado and Goldschmidt against Woodruff in 43 at-bats. Do you think, if it was just solely...
Yet I remember Woodruff, Jimmy, against the Cardinals in some of these. I remember I've been on Woodruff a couple of times against the Cardinals, either first 5 or full game, and he just gives up this one big home run, like a 3-run homer. He's done this multiple times, and it's just in the back of my head. I remember Woodruff getting that in this one bad inning against the Cardinals in some of these recent starts, so that even though the overall numbers against a lot of these Cardinals hitters look good, he's had that one blow-up inning against the Cardinals that does concern me. It's something when you lose bets like I've lost with Woodruff against the Cardinals in the past, with that kind of thing happening, it's the shit that stays with you, and it's something that I remember. So that's why, some of those numbers look good, but the Cardinals see them a lot too, and that lineup I think can do some damage. I certainly don't think Woodruff shutting down St. Louis with the way he's pitched on the road. So, and talking 7, both teams get to 3, you can't lose.
Huh. Yeah, I hear you. I'm going to leave some question marks beside it, because I just, looking at his numbers against, I know that you have a vividness thing going on, but looking at the numbers against the Cardinals, it feels like sometimes you have, if you think that Woodruff is a stud, if you do, maybe if you don't, then feel free to fade away. But if you think he is a stud, sometimes it helps going up against a division rival to find that competitive edge again, and that's enough to make me pause at this point.
Right.
So, but I like your look on the over. I came very close to Cards first 5, and then I'm gonna add just a few question marks beside it. Let's move on to a game that I doubled up on, and I think that it's time to blind bet the Toronto Blue Jays and leave off what the market is telling us. I feel like we can use this poor start with a very tough schedule and a never before seen average with runners in scoring possession. They were hitting 179. That would have been the lowest in MLB history. They're going to progress to the mean without a doubt. And Lourdes Gurriel is not going to be a bottom 10 in the league with runners in scoring position. And Gurriel and Teoscar Hernandez aren't going to be hitting 170 all year. And because of their record, I feel like we're going to be getting a lot of value on them. And I'm not scared of Chase Silseth coming off a loss at home versus he was 11th round pick. Who cares what he did in his MLB debut? To me, from a gambling perspective here, Johnny K is on the Angels. Alek Manoah would be nominated for the Cy if the season ended right now. And he's a bulldog. 5-1, 1.62 ERA, 0.88 whip, 43 Ks in 50 innings, 9 walks, 3 homers. The talk up here is it looks like he could pitch every second day. Last start, he went 8 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, no homers, 4 Ks, no walks, and a 3-1 win at home versus Reds. And I know the Reds aren't very good. Silseth, I'm not scared of. The Jays aren't hitting against righties at all. 232, 688 OPS. And the Angels do hit righties hard. 246, 746 OPS. Both bullpens have been struggling. Jays bullpen 3.90 ERA, 1.20 WHIP, have converted 17 of 26. The Angels bullpen 3.84 ERA, 1.12 WHIP, have converted 14 of 21. I was only going to take the first 5, and then the more I sat with it, I added the full game as well. So I'm on the first 5 minus 115 and the full game minus 120. Let's see what the weather is here. We have 68 Fahrenheit, 9.6 miles per hour out to center. Nice offensive weather. The line history, we have a 5-cent move to the Blue Jays. From a total perspective, it has not moved off the 8, minus 115 to the under. When we look at the money in this one, we have 5,169 tickets in. 83% of the tickets, 81% of the cash on the Jays, only a 5-cent move towards them. I can understand why some people would think that's a red flag. 75% of tickets, 76% cash on the over, and it's still juiced to the under is a little confusing. And Ron Crawford, MLB spreadsheet play of the day, is on the Toronto Blue Jays. And I love seeing that. I'll pop that into my action. And shout out to Ron Crawford jumping in to give me more confidence on the Toronto Blue Jays. Take it away, Bobano. Blue Jays, Angels.
Yeah, I guess everybody's it's a Blue Jays party because I'm on them first 5 in full game here. But this is not me just for today, like in the Blue Jays with Alek Manoah. I've backed them with Manoah on the mound every start just about this year because that's how highly I think of the kid. He's got incredible bulldog mentality, wants the ball every inning. Hopefully his blood pressures come down a little bit after getting yanked from the game after the 8th inning last time he started. I know he was not happy with Pete Walker and Charlie Montoyo for taking him out with a chance to have a complete game. But nevertheless, that tells you all you need to know about him, though. He's a competitor. He wants to win. He wants to be the absolute best he can be. And when you have a pitcher like that, a Max Scherzer type personality, that's good for the entire ball club. And they take they take the field each day with that confidence they can win with him. He's been great. I mean, what can you say? 1.62 ERA. The Blue Jays 5-1 is his win-loss record. The overall team record with him on the mound is 5-3, but it could be better than that. There's been a couple games where the bullpen coughed it up late in the game. A couple games where they didn't get a big-time hit when it was close. The Blue Jays, but no, he's bet on all the way. He's been bet on all the way for me all season, and it's going to be that way again. And I don't mind fading Chase Silseth. Now, the one concern about Silseth is he could be one of these guys where first time you see him, he kind of bamboozles you and he kind of befuddles you a little bit, like he did against Oakland. Like he just rolled through them in his very first start, his debut. But he faced that same Oakland team in his very next start, his second start, and they weren't fooled. You know, he gave up 6 hits. He gave up a bunch of runs. He gave up a couple home runs. That's because I don't think his stuff is at that top tier level. But this is the Jays facing him for the first time. And Jimmy mentioned their struggles a little bit at times to hit with, in the clutch lately, and especially against righties, so that does concern me just a little bit here. But I still don't think Silseth's stuff measures up anywhere close to Manoah, in my opinion. And you look at the Jays, a little bit of a rough patch, no question, but they busted out with a big blowout win against St. Louis, the final game of that series, 8-1, a nice solid 6-3 victory against the Angels last night, and now all of a sudden they've won 4 of their last 6 after an extended, rough patch for this ball club. So I think your theory, Jimmy, is this team is ready to go on a run. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. And to me, this is just, I think Manoah's got a much higher ceiling than Chase Silseth. It's just that simple. So for me, it's going to be first 5 full game split here with the Jays. First 5, it looks like, let me just shop.
The first 5 is being hammered right now.
It absolutely is.
It's moved to minus 132 at Pinnacle, which I love seeing. Not for us line shopping for you, but just seeing that my minus 115 from last night is in a good position. Let's see what we can find, I'm sure that's not everywhere. Let me check out a couple different spots here.
Minus 130, I think, at Caesars looks to be the best we've got right now.
Damn.
I'll go with it.
Let me see if I can. Got to be able to beat that. Let me see if circa minus 129. Okay.
There we go. That's about all right. We'll take it. Minus 129. And also the full game, which obviously is a little bit better because I like to split it up here. Full game is around minus 115.
Yeah, full game minus 115. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. And those of you who haven't moved on the futures, I'm not concerned. Well, okay, I'm a little concerned with the Yankees' great start, but it's time to move on them. The value's there on the Jays. They have a very easy schedule, easiest in the league now to finish off the year. They should be backed, and the numbers are much better than you would have received at the beginning of the year. And Puzzler says Alex Manoah has a shot at the Cy Young. He absolutely does. Let's go. So first 5 minus 129, full game minus 115 on the Jays for Bobano. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is on Toronto. I got the Jays first 5 minus 115 and full game minus 120, and we are in business. James S. and Dave Berkey took him on the money line last night at minus 110. Great job. And Eric Jones says, yeah, bro, I just scared of late runs by the Angels. That's fair, but it's not like the Angels bullpen is. So yeah, there's high volatility after this,
Well, the Angels bullpen is better now that they finally designated for assignment that useless tit Mike Mayers. I mean, what the fuck was that guy in this bullpen for so long for? Just absolutely brutal, that guy. How come it took so damn long to get rid of him, to gas the guy? Stinks. Finally, they did it. Well done. 2 years too late, but
let's roll on here. We are in business. I moved on our next spot as well. And, it's tricky when you are taking a big favorite on the road and maybe not a very comforting place to be. But I took the Astros. I found the best angle for me. The one that I was most comfortable with was the Astros first 5 minus 1. I got that at plus money using the minus 1 calculator. I got it at plus 102. It was a minus 140 on the first 5 minus a half and a plus 145 on the first 5 minus 1.5. And I preferred that than taking the run line at minus 120. I preferred the opportunity to have no vig here and push if they're only up a run. So that was my move. Let's see if that's changed at all. It has not. So that's still available, widely available, and probably can get better than that. Eric Jones is on the Astros run line minus 115. I get it. But let's talk about this spot here. Astros, Mariners, T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington, and 54 Fahrenheit at first pitch. I'm not sure if the roof is going to be open. If it is, it's 10.5 miles out to center. I think it probably will because it doesn't get too cold later in the night. 10.5 miles out to center and ends at 11.1. So offensive weather. Let's go to line history in this Verlander spot against Flexen. We have a 30-cent move to the Astros. It was 20-cent move by 2 in the morning, and then the final 10 cents was added at 10:10 in the morning. Then from a total look, it opened up at 7, and an hour and 20 minutes ago, it moved to 7.5. Eric Jones says Verlander goes 7 to 8 innings. Lit Picks says love the Stros first 5 here. And Mally Mouse says Flexen has sucked. We saw this in Michaelis' second year, I believe, after coming over from Asia. First year, he was lights out. Then he had a rough year. And now he's got himself back together again. Flexen looked so good at times at home last year, coming over from Asia. But now he looks sort of figured out. But let's talk about Verlander's excellence. I believe, I don't have it in front of me, but I don't believe he's allowed to run in his last 3 starts. Last one was 6 innings, 6 hits, no earned runs, 8 Ks, no walks, and a 2-1 win at home versus the Rangers. He's got a 1.22 ERA, a 0.72 whip, 49 Ks and 51 2/3 with just 9 walks. Flexen in his last start allowed 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 homers, 2 Ks, 3 walks, and a 6-5 loss at the Red Sox. I took a look at his splits, and I was like, well, is he still pitching well at home? He's pitching worse at home this year than he is on the road, barely, but it's there. Astros versus righties, 240, 738 OPS. Mariners versus righties, 240, 692 OPS. Astros bullpen has been unbelievable. 2.62 ERA, 1.12 whip, 11 of 14 converted save opportunities. Lance LaRose says Flexen isn't fooling anybody. Mariners bullpen's been atrocious. 4.34 ERA, 1.27 WHIP. I've only converted 7 of 13 save opportunities. And when we go over to the cash flow with this big market move, we see 85% of the tickets, 95% of the cash on the Astros. Yeah, maybe that's a little concerning, but there is a 30-cent move towards them. And then 52% of tickets, 47% cash on the over spot I'm staying off of. Take it away here, Bobano, next spot on the board, Astros Mariners.
I mean, what else do you do besides take the Astros here in the in the first 5 minus a half? That's exactly what I've done here, minus a half with a it's a little bit of a juicy price, minus 130 to minus 135. I think when I locked it in, it was minus 130. Best price right now with that is minus 128. Yeah, Pinnacle's got minus 128 for Houston, minus a half first 5. I like that. I mean, I think one Verlander start this year, Houston has lost in the first 5 innings. And that was the very first game against the Angels where he was awesome in that game and gives up 1 run and the Astros couldn't hit and they got shut out that game. Other than that, it's been, I believe, 5-0-2 in the next 7 starts in the first 5 run line for the Astros. 5 wins, 2 pushes with that, or 5 wins, 2 losses, I should say, because the minus a half means you lose. But if you had the money line, it would be 5-0-2. If it's the run line, it's 5-2. But either way, it's been profitable. And Flexen's got his problems. There's no doubt. He is struggling right now for the Seattle Mariners. 4.98 ERA. Remember how good he used to be in this ballpark in particular? Great home pitcher. Not this year. 5 ERA for him. His last start here in Seattle, 6 runs, 9 hits, 5 innings against Philadelphia back on May 9th. So that wasn't very good. It's just difficult to trust him to shut down this Astros team. Now, his numbers against the Astros actually aren't horrible by any stretch of the imagination, but Mariners just don't win for Flexen against this Houston team. Mariners 0-6 in Chris Flexen's 6 starts against the Houston Astros. So it's just straightforward. Verlander is dominant right now. He's on top of his game. It's really something to behold. It's really a lot of fun as a baseball fan to watch what this guy is. It's a pleasure to watch him pitch. You know, at his age, reinvent himself, come back from multiple injury stints, still do it when you're in your 40s like this. It's just remarkable right now from Justin Verlander. So I expect him to have another good outing tonight. And Seattle is certainly a team that he's had success against in the past. So for me, minus a half, minus 128 for Houston, first 5.
I like it. Lil C says you'd rather have first 5 than full game. For me, I found the opportunity to have a bet with no VIG where, yes, I know it's just the first 5 innings because there's a huge bullpen advantage with the Astros. I like that rather than, 20 cents of VIG on the run line for me. And having, obviously you have to win the first 5 by 2 to cash it, but the push at 1 run with no VIG, I found appealing enough, but there's multiple ways of playing it. It's just, how do you prefer playing a big favorite? One of the things I prefer with a big road favorite, is not doubling up on it. Although I'm doubling up on the Blue Jays, they're slight road favorites, but I mean, a big road favorite, it's just not an appealing spot, and it's tricky to figure out how to keep the VIG down. So, but sure, the -1 on the full game is just too expensive. So that was my thought process behind it. And any chance I can get to not have VIG, I'll take it. So Bobano got the first 5 minus half, minus 128. I got the first 5 minus 1 at plus 102, and I bet it earlier. We move on to 9:40 p.m. Eastern. LA Dodgers 30-14, 15-9 on the road at Arizona Diamondbacks 23-23, 12-12 at home. We're at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. And remember, I told you guys yesterday, this was the one day where the roof was going to be open. And we saw the market move heavily to the over today, this morning at least. And I felt like I missed my opportunity to take the over. And from a market side, there's been a 20-cent move towards the Diamondbacks. They open up at plus 150. They're now plus 130. From a total perspective, I missed it. I should have been on the over 9, but it went to 9.5. And then at 9:24 this morning, it moved to 10. And I just missed it. Real Deal Prime wondering about Ryan Pepio, whether he should back him. You have every right to wonder whether you want to back him. Let's take a look at the weather first here in Arizona. 103 Fahrenheit at first pitch. 10.3 miles per hour from left to right. It's hot. Uh, Pepio versus Bumgarner. From a cash perspective, this is the third game where Sports Insight says there's full market value on a team, and that's the Diamondbacks here. 3,858 tickets in. You have 41% of the tickets on the Diamondbacks and 68% of the cash. And I know that the Dodgers don't hit lefties hard, 244, 716 OPS. But Bumgarner gets even more emotional when he pitches against the Dodgers, and he's already faced them once this year. And legitimately, I just don't know if I trust him, and I don't want him all emotional on the field. We see what happens to him. He just loses. He's like a mess sometimes on the mound. And I love the guy, but he can be a mess on the mound. His last start, he allowed 4 earned runs, 2 homers, 7 Ks, no walks, and a 7-6 extra inning win at the Cubs. Mike Smith saying over. It's my fault for not getting it. My fault for not getting it. I should have been on it already, and I'm not going to take it after the big move here. Raven and Dennis says Bumgarner 15, 16, 2.82 ERA career versus the Dodgers. I don't like some of these pitchers looking at their career numbers when I don't feel like they're that pitcher anymore. Now, look, Bumgarner's had a great start to the year. 2.76 ERA, 1.11 whip. 28 Ks and 14 walks. It's not a great K walk ratio. 28 Ks and 42.30. Can't get the strikeouts when he needs it. And Dodgers 244, 716 OPS versus lefties. Diamondbacks 219, 705 OPS versus righties. Dodgers bullpen so much better than Diamondbacks bullpen. Dodgers bullpen elite. Diamondbacks bullpen 4.70 ERA, 1.44 whip, converted 15 of 21. Look, I'm not going to sit here and back the Dodgers and Pepio. Maybe, you know what? I take that back. If the line keeps moving towards the Diamondbacks, maybe I'll find interest in the Dodgers. Take it away, Bobano. Dodgers, Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I definitely. It's moved so much. I mean, it blew through 9. It's blown through 10 or 9.5 in most spots. Although I think there is still a 9.5 at win. Yeah, I'll go with the 9.5 at win. Even though it's because I bet 9. I did bet 9 minus 120. I didn't even get the best of that at 9, but at least I got the 9 at minus 120. Then it blew through 9.5, and I was on the over in this series last night with Castellanos making the start for Arizona in that one against White for the Dodgers. And obviously the Dodgers did all the heavy lifting, but nevertheless it got there. I'm not trusting Pepio either. I mean, he hasn't exactly been, I think he's going to have a long-term future, but when you played the Pirates, in your first start, that's not saying much. And you had 5 walks, you had command issues, you had some more command issues against Arizona 10 days ago when you faced them, and you gave up 3 runs in 4 innings, including a home run. So he hasn't clearly ironed it all out yet, Pepio, for the Dodgers here. And you're right, I don't trust Bumgarner against the Dodgers. I know Bumgarner's had a pretty good start overall. His overall numbers are very good, 2.76, but he's going to regress. That's not going to sustain. That's not going to maintain for the duration of the season, in my opinion. And we saw last start against the Cubs, he got hit around a bit, 2 home runs allowed, 4 runs, 5 hits in that game. It's funny that even though Bumgarner's pitched more good than bad in a lot of his starts, he's had 5 straight overs. 5 straight Bumgarner starts have gone over the total. So I'm just going to keep it simple. The roof's open. It's going to be a hot tamale kind of night there in the desert at Chase Field. I think we see runs here over 9.5 at minus 115 at win right now. There is some signs that this total might go back down because I'm seeing 10 shaded to the under and moving a little bit to the under at some of these 10s that are out there. So if you're at a book that's got a 10, maybe wait it out. It could come back down. At least it's starting to hint that could be the possibility.
I would have interest if it comes back down. I guess I won't go against this perceived value here, but the Dodgers are starting to get to around the price point that I find appealing. And Pepio 8 Ks, 8 walks in 7 innings. Look, I know there's a lot to not like, but he's got talent. I'm off this spot, but if I could get an over 9.5 minus 115, I'd be on it right now. Let's move on to 9:40 p.m. Eastern. Pittsburgh Pirates at San Diego Padres. Pirates are 18-25, 7-11 on the road. The Padres 28-16, 11-9 at home. We're at Petco Park in San Diego, California. We have the weather at 64 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 6.7 miles per hour left to right, but slightly in, and it becomes more in as the game goes on, but it's not heavy. Gets down to a low of 5.6 miles per hour. Great to have Raven in the desert in the chat. Love capping with him. Quintana versus Minaya. Let's go to the line history in this spot. We have a 25-cent move to the Padres. They open up at minus 200. They get up to minus 225. From a totals look, there's been no movement. It's just a little back and forth, 5 cents, but it's the exact same right now as where it started. Over 7 at minus 115. We get over to the cash flow in this Padres spot. We have 6,708 tickets in. It's all Padres money. 87% of tickets, 93% of the cash, and 70% of tickets, 82% of cash on the over, and no movement. LJ from H-Town in the house. Great capper says Padres haven't lost 3 in a row all season. 12-3-0 after a loss. Pirates 4-13-0 after a win. The worst in Major League Baseball. That's a great stat, LJ. Robert Franklin, though, leaning Pirates first 5 plus 165 tonight. Mally Mal says Padres big. Quintana has been so good. I mean, just shockingly good. It makes very little sense good. Human growth hormone good. 3 2/3, 7 hits, 5 runs, 2 earned runs, 4 Ks, 1 walk, and a 5-4 loss home to the Cardinals. Yeah, those numbers aren't that good, but we know what the Cardinals do to lefties. And sure, I mean, they tagged Lauer, who's having a great year. They got to Quintana. They're just a dangerous team against lefties. And so are the Padres, not to the same extent. But Quintana this year, 1 2, 2.43 ERA, 1.18 whip, 34 Ks and 40 2/3. Minaya, 2 3, 4.04 ERA, 1.12 whip, 55 Ks and 49 innings. His last start, 8-7 extra inning victory at the Giants, wasn't very good. 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 homers, 5 Ks, 2 walks. The Padres, 242, 732 OPS versus lefties, while the Pirates, 229, 659 OPS. And the Padres bullpen, ever since Loshak said, don't look at those season-long numbers, this is a much better bullpen than the numbers indicate, he was right. And the Padres bullpen starting to look really good. The Pirates bullpen, 4.25 ERA, 1.32 whip, converted 11 of 16. Take it away here, Bobano. Second to last game on the card, Pirates-Padres.
Yeah, this is fascinating with these two pitchers because you look at Quintana, he's got the better ERA right now than Minaya, and yet the advanced numbers say Minaya is probably has been the better pitcher. Manaya's actually gotten a little unlucky, 4 ERA, but all his xFIP, FIP, xERA, they're all at 3 or in between 3 and 4. So he should actually be probably in line to pitch a little bit better moving forward than he has. Whereas Quintana, every stat you read there suggests this ain't going to keep up indefinitely. And we know enough about Quintana where we don't expect this to be indefinite, that he's going to just pitch like this all year. 2.43 ERA, and look, that xFIP's 4.02. So there's something's got to give here for Jose Quintana. So people like in San Diego, I don't disagree with that. The first 5 might be worth a look here in this game. It's a little pricey for me when you're talking minus a half, it's minus 125. I'd lean that way. I've got enough on the card already. I lean to the over as well, 7. Again, we're talking about a 7 total with this game. Padres, by the way, it's funny. Minaya, 5 straight overs in his last 5 starts. And the Padres have done a good job giving him run support. So actually, I think I will go with that one because I prefer that with the total here than the side. I like the Padres too, but they mash lefties, and Pittsburgh's actually better against lefties than righties as well. It's worth noting that Pittsburgh's done a great lineup, but definitely Pittsburgh's done a little bit better against lefties. So I'm going to lean Padres first 5 minus a half, but I like the over 7 minus 1. Let me see. I think it's minus 110 here is what we've got with that. Yep.
I like that look. I think that look makes a lot of sense. Minaya hasn't looked very good, so I think the Pirates can get a couple. And then if the Pirates get 3, you're likely to cash this. I like this look. I think I'm going to tail this look. Over 7 at minus 110 for Bobano, and I'm going to put a bunch of asterisks. I think I'm going to roll with that look. I like that look. Looks like that'll be an addition to my card. Like it. Okay, we move on to the final game on the card. Then we have Darryl Rice joining us, and he's still on his drive for 60% on the show, and he's very close. He's up over 25 units on the show this year, and he just hit the 100-win plateau. He's 100 wins and 70 losses. Rangers, A's is the last game on the card. I've already moved on the A's first 5 at plus 115. My last bet on this board. Rangers 19-23, 9-11 on the road. At the A's 19-27, 6-14 at home. We're at Oakland Coliseum. 59 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 7.7 miles per hour out to right field, and it dies down to 6.4 We look at the line history in this spot. We have Gray, the Gray Wolf against Cole Irvin. There's been a so it's down to plus 105 now, the A's full game, but the first move was towards the Rangers, a 10-cent move towards them. That happened at 10:18 last night. Since then, the A's have gone from plus 120 to plus 115 to plus 110, now to plus 105 at 10:57 this morning. From a totals look, it sat at 7 the whole time, minus 115 to the over. Mr. Heat says it's hard to trust Irvin pitching within the division. I can understand that, but he just pitched a quality start at Anaheim Stadium against the tough Angels squad. And the Rangers here can hit lefties, 229, 703 OPS. But I like this. I feel like the Gray Wolf is more vulnerable here, even though he's coming off a great start at Houston. 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, no homers, 4 Ks, 2 walks. He's got a 5.14 ERA, 1.32 whip on the season. The A's don't hit righties, 206, 579 OPS. What up, T-Mac, my guy? Both bullpens have been really good. The reason why I took the first 5 instead of the full game, even though the A's bullpen's been so good, is because I want to cut it down to 5 innings because I still fear this Rangers lineup much more than the A's lineup. But let's just go over to one other spot here, and that is the batter versus pitcher. Because the A's haven't seen the Gray Wolf, and maybe that will hurt me in the long run, although Sean Murphy's 1-for-1 against them. But I like these numbers against everybody but Marcus Semien and Charlie Culberson. You know, I like Seager 0-for-4 against them, Mitch Garver 0-for-5. I like the fact that with these, I just like Cole Irvin at home. I've always trusted Cole Irvin at home. So let's look at the cash flow and then hand it over to Bobano. Last game on the card, 3,745 tickets in, 52% of the tickets, 70% of the cash on the A's, and we've seen the market move in the A's direction. Then 36% tickets, 63% cash on the under. So expecting another low-scoring game. Mr. Heath, no run first inning. We'll take a look at it here in a second. But take it away, Bobano. Rangers, A's.
All right, Rangers, A's. It's too bad we have to end the game with. I don't have much on this, but that's the way it is. I don't trust Gray. I agree with that. But I don't know if I trust Oakland after what I saw last night, where they get absolutely shut down completely by Martin Perez. I mean, Martin Perez has been actually shockingly very strong so far this year, but that didn't exactly induce confidence in me. Their lineup, we know their lineup is very, very sketchy. Oakland here, and Irvin, to me, you're right. He's kind of been up and down all over the place. Texas does have the capability to hit lefties a little bit. I guess a lean to the over 7, but not enough for me to pull the trigger on anything here.
I don't trust John Gray, and now a second.
I agree with you there. Yeah,
a second straight road start after looking so good at Houston.
I have equal amount of lack of trust in the Oakland lineup. And I'm not a big fan of Irvin either, so that's why I lean over.
I love it, Bobano. You are running hot, and let's keep it rolling. Let's review action from our man Ian Cameron. He's on the over 6.5 in Colorado, St. Louis, and I'm on the first period under 1.5 at plus 150. He got minus 113, is over 6.5. In MLB, he gets his card started with the over 9 at minus 125 in Rockies Nationals. He's on the Red Sox first 5 minus 0.5 at minus 125. We stayed off Guardians Tigers. I am going to move on the under in Yankees Rays. That will be in addition to my card. I'm not sure if I'll double up first 5 full game or what, but I'm going to move on it. Then Bobano's on the Mets first 5 minus 0.5 at plus 100 and full game minus 148. And Dommy's on the over 8.5. And I think that I'm going to move on that over 8.5 with him. I do. Let me just take one more. You know what? I'll do that analysis after the show and not in front of you, but I think I'm going to run with him on that. Bobano's on the over 9 at minus 104 in Marlins Braves. He's on the Twinkies first 5 minus 0.5 at minus 117 at home against the Royals. He's on the over 7 at minus 115 in the Brewers Cardinals. We're both doubling up on the Blue Jays, and Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today is on the Blue Jays. We're all over the Blue Jays today, and I might be time to start blind betting them. I think they're going to heat up. become a nuisance.
Keep in mind that game is on Apple TV Plus, so don't be looking at, if you're in Canada, don't be looking for Tabby and Matt Devlin on Sportsnet tonight. They're not there.
Oh, shit.
It's Apple TV Plus, so that's your way to watch the game, and it's exclusive. So don't be going to Rogers Sportsnet tonight. That's all I'll say.
I didn't know that. Bobano's on the first 5 minus a half at minus 128 in Astros Mariners. I'm on the first 5 minus 1 at plus 102. Bobano's on the over 9.5 at minus 115 in Dodgers Diamondbacks. If I could get that line right now, I'd bet it. He's on the over 7 at minus 110 in Pirates Padres, and I want in. I have many asterisks besides I want to run with that. And then I'm on the A's first 5 at plus 115. I like the implied probability of that spot. There you have it. Bobano, I love these Fridays. Excellent work, my friend. And keep rolling, man. Keep getting that cash. Follow Bobano on Twitter at Bobano. Any last words for these great? And don't forget, hosting NBA Pub Hub today at 4 p.m. Eastern. Any last words for the Cappers supporting the show, Bobano?
Great stuff. No, other than it's a blast being here on Fridays. It's always fun. You always feel good about the way your bets are lining up and the way your thought process is with the card when you talk it out on this show. At least that's the way I always feel about it. But thanks to everyone for joining us. We've got, the usuals in the chat. We appreciate each and every one of you for joining us every day. Hit the like button. That's very important. We appreciate that as well. Always good to be with you, Jimmy. This is a great Friday tradition, and I'll be back later. Pub Hub, NBA Pub Hub, 4 p.m. Eastern. So looking forward to that. And Derl's red hot in the NBA, so he's got you covered next.
I love it. There he is, Bobano in the house. We got Big Show also in the chat, and it is time to talk NBA. And your next guest has been on his drive for 60% on the show. He got there once and slipped back, and he is so close right now. His cash on the Warriors -7 at minus 104 that he gave out on Wednesday brought him to the 100-win plateau on the show. 100 wins, 70 losses, hitting at 58.8%. 58.8%, Derl, you're so close. Plus 25.22 units, spectacular. ROI plus 14.84%, average line minus 104. I lost with the Mavericks money line last night, plus 270. I'm 161 and 142, hitting at 53.1%. I'm now under double digits, plus 9.88 units, ROI plus 3.26%, average line minus 106. Nasty Nate in the house, very pumped up for his Celtics. He's on the Celtics trifecta. He is a Celtics and the under teaser. Well, let's hear what our man has to do direct from Los Angeles, California. Please welcome to the show, Darryl Rice in the house. Derl, what up?
Yo, happy fucking Friday, man. Happy Friday, dog. Hey, today is a damn good day. It's a good day, man. I'm happy today. Any day on this side of the grass is what, Jay?
A good day.
Good damn day, brother. Happy to be with you, man. Happy to be with you.
Congrats on your call on Kevon Looney double.
Yeah,
bourgeoisie, man.
Yeah, man. That was there's a couple of basketball groups that I'm in, and it's really good just to talk shit out, And if that was the Warriors series was a series I felt I was more in tune with, and you just saw Kevon Looney kind of come alive in Memphis, right? And that was with great bigs, in my opinion. Disclaimer, man, you're never going to hear me trash talk an NBA player. It's just it's impossible for me to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm 5'8" with rocks in my shoes. So I know I can't do half of what these guys can do, right? So I'm never, ever going to talk bad about even the worst NBA player.
Even Big Country Reeves? You wouldn't talk bad about Big Country Reeves?
Big Country Reeves will run me up and down the court, man. Dead ass. So with me, I consider everybody in this small fraternity of people, right? The NBA, the pros in the NBA, you've got like a 0.1 chance of making it to the pros. So if you get there, it's a big deal. At any rate, I say that to say that Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson Jr. are better bigs that they played against versus what Dallas had to offer. And you just saw once they were able to lock down Luka in the first game, it was just like, yo, man, this is fucking wild. This is wild. So that's why I started to look at that angle with Kevon Looney, and he showed up this series, man. He showed up this series. So I did like that pick.
It was a spectacular bet.
Yeah,
and, Remo stunned by you being 5'8", but Joe
Yeah,
Yurkovich
man.
says you have
That's
a
on that's on a good day. That's on my tippy toes, bro.
Joe Yurkovich says you have a 7-foot voice.
Hey, I got a 7 foot something else.
Okay, all right, let's get right to work here. Let's get right to work. East Finals Game 6, Boston up 3-2. These Heat look shook.
Yeah.
They look shook.
Yeah, bro.
You ain't a cook, son. Miami Heat don't look good. We're at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. This series has been run at a slow pace.
Yeah.
Exactly what the Heat have been playing throughout the playoffs. 93.66 possessions a game. The Heat play pace in the playoffs. 93.25 in the series. But it feels like the Celtics can play at a sped up pace, a slow down pace. It feels like they're in control here and are looking to reach their first NBA Finals since 2010 with a victory here. A lot on the line. Let's open up with the line, and I have made a bet. Already on this, which we will discuss here in a second.
Okay.
So let's talk about the line history. This spot opened up at the Heat plus 8.5. That was at 11:32 after Game 5. And within 2 hours, that had moved to 9.
Yeah.
And then at 9 in the morning yesterday, it moved back to 8.5, which is where it stands right now. From a totals look, it opened up at 200.5, and it's now at 201.5. It got down to 2, it went up to 201, then 200.5, and now we've had different half-point moves.
Yeah.
One at 1 this morning, one at 11 this morning. Let's take a look at the cash flow here in this one. We're going to have a sample size, not as much as I thought. 17,943 tickets in, and it's shocking. 53% of the tickets on the Heat, 55% of the cash on the Heat.
Which is weird.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
But it is a big spread. It is a huge spread. So, I mean, then you have 46% of tickets on the under and 66% of cash on the under, and it's gone up. Dennis Garcia says, I'm going down with the ship Miami first quarter money line full game spread.
Wow.
And Sammy Calmer, to give you a hint of what I'm on, says, I love your Heat first quarter look. Heat have no option but to win the first quarter. Yes, I'm on the Heat first quarter plus 3 at minus 110. That has been my plan all along for the last 48 hours, is how to bet this as studying Jimmy Buckets. And I'm just going to set a quick table, but it all starts with Butler here from a Heat perspective. I just don't see, over the last 2 games, he's averaging 9.5 points and he's hitting 7 of 32 from the field. So let's forget about Struss is 0 for 9. Lowry, 0 for 6. Oladipo 1 of 7. Max is now 0 for 16 over his past 2 games. Tyler Hero may or may not play. Listed as questionable right now. They've averaged 81 points per game without him in the lineup. But it all comes down to Jimmy Butler, and I think that he's going to. I mean, it's very easy to say play better. I mean, I'm not going to say play. I think he's going to play good. I think he's going to put up 20 plus points, 6 plus rebounds, 6 plus assists. Mm-hmm. I don't think it'll be enough, but I don't. If I had a free bet, I'd be on the Celtics here. I think the Celtics will slowly wear down the Heat.
Right.
And I also think this is an extremely important game for Boston, and they know it. Like, I don't think they're going to be taking this lightly. That doesn't mean I think they're going to be ready to rock in the first quarter necessarily.
Right.
But in 2018, now with a young Tatum and a young Brown, they were up 3-2 against the Cavs, and the Cavs came back on them. And that's happened on 2 different occasions. They've lost in the past 4 chances in the Eastern Conference Finals. And now Brown and Tatum say we're older, we're more mature. The fact that the Celtics won so easily when Tatum goes 7 of 20 from the field just to me shows that they're just a much better basketball team. And I want to see them play the Warriors. I think that's just a spectacular NBA.
That's a matchup.
Take it away, Derl. Running hot as always on this show. Heat Celtics Game 6, TD Garden in Boston.
Yeah, I moved on 3 plays here. And just full disclaimer here, I've sucked at this series, right? So I really haven't liked this series as much as the Warriors and Dallas series. I am right in alignment with you, and we don't talk about our picks before the game, but I did already step on Miami plus 3 first quarter.
Beautiful.
And the reason why I stepped on it is because once I saw that Tyler Herro's game time decision, I think he's going to get there. So maybe in the bottom half of that first quarter, he comes in and makes some buckets. But I think that is the right side. Miami Heat first quarter. They were able to do it without Tyler last game, right? First quarter and first half, I believe. And I believe this spread is wide enough to where that does happen. So I do like Boston to win the game. And so I stepped all on Boston at the -8.5. And I think if you wait on this with the Tyler news, you might get it down to 8. I think so. With the contest that we're in, I can't wait for those lines to kind of close at a later time. But I believe that number is going to be Boston -8. If Tyler's game time decision is called and he plays, then that's going to move it a hook. And this could be why you see Miami money, right? This is probably why it got knocked back down from 9. So I do like Boston to win this game to end the series. They really have no choice but to do it because the Dubs just won, and you want to get that rest in, right? Every day counts, especially when you're kind of beat up. So they could use the rest. Miami Heat just can't buy a basket, right? They just don't have the scoring there. Something looks wrong with Jimmy. He's definitely playing injured, probably trying to hide that. He doesn't have that bounce. Bam Adebayo, we talked about it yesterday. This man is just playing absolutely scary, right? So if you just look at it right now, I was looking at Team Rankings website. Miami is still averaging more points than Boston in the first quarter. So I do like the Miami Heat first quarter play. But Boston just seems to wear them down second half. Definitely second half. And it seems like specifically that third quarter. Third quarter just seems to be the magic quarter in both of these series, to be honest with you. So I do think that Boston can wear them down. And by the end of the game, it's a double-digit lead. So I do like that. And then lastly on this game, I do believe that you'll see a good scoring performance out of Al Horford. So I did take Al Horford over 10.5 points. Al Horford over 10.5 points. And I got that for -102. I'm just going to confirm that.
Over 10.5 points to -102. We're going to do some other line shopping. By the way, that first quarter is moved to -111 at Pinnacle. They have -2.5 listed. You have to go to alternate lines to get the +3. So I like seeing that. So I can't find better than Heat first quarter plus where I got it +3 and -110, which does give me an inkling that Hero will be there.
Yeah, I think Hero's going to play.
Then Celtics, I want to find less juice. So I'm going to shop around for the Celtics -8.5 at less juice. We have questions coming in. First off, Joe Yergovich says, Jimmy, is this your best NBA season? No. I've been double-digit units up in 4. The only year I wasn't was last year. And last year, when I went and poured over what went wrong, because it was bad. I wasn't even plus units. I was negative units. It was a bad year. It was player props. Player props hurt me badly. And so I decided this year to not make one player prop bet all year. This is the year that feels the best for me because I was down 23 units. I lost last year, was down 23 units, and then turned the season around. So it means the most to me. But it probably doesn't mean the most to me is my first year down in Costa Rica, ending the year up double-digit units. Was a huge, just meant a ton to me because I have such a real healthy fear of NBA. I'm now and MLB too, but I've always been so scared of the, I don't know what to call it, the soap opera. I don't know what to call exactly, but the things beyond our control going on in NBA has always scared the shit out of me. I'm going to find your Celtics line at -8.5. We have questions coming in, and feel free to hit us with any questions. The first question from Justin Bilbo. Can you ask about Kyle Lowry under 14.5 points, rebounds, and assist prop? He just looks washed and banged up in the series to me. That's from Justin Bilbo saying he looks washed and banged up. If you hear him comment, he wants to get on the floor badly and show that he's better than the trash that he's looked. And we know that he's capable of stepping up. What do you think of that look, Kyle Lowry under 14.5 point rebounds and assists?
It doesn't seem bad. But I mean, I just have a hard time putting money on Kyle Lowry because of how bad he does look, but he does have the capacity to push the pace, right? So I did see somebody that say Zach Zarba's reffing today. So those games seem to go over, right? But there's something really wrong with Miami. They just seem broken, right? And I don't, maybe 14 and a half just seems kind of like a lot to me. But at the same, if you're saying PRA, I mean, maybe he gets right there. It's just a gamble. Kyle Lowry isn't a guy that I would want to put my money on personally because he just hasn't shown up. So I would probably look at a different player prop, if you will. But I mean, what's the number on that? You said minus 114.
I'm not. I will find out what the. Sorry, I'm popping up the. I don't have it. No. I'll ask him. Justin, let us know what the juice associated with your look is.
Yeah, I mean, I see it at minus 124, but that's, of course, it's Bovada. It's going to be juice, so you're going to get a better number. But yeah, God, I mean, points, rebounds, and assists, and this guy right now is giving you what? What did he give you last game? Like, he had 0 points.
Yeah.
Your brother from the North, man, did not do good at all. Right? So the problem that, or the only way I can back that is the fact that it's been a zigzag series, right? Up until last game. So Miami does have to get it back, but I just don't think they have it in the tank. So, yeah, I personally wouldn't play on Kyle Lowry, but it would be just like Kyle Lowry to turn it around and do something this game as Miami really, really needs it, as long as, if I had to choose between the two, between Kyle Lowry and say Bam Adebayo, I'm definitely going Kyle
Lowry. What do you think of our guy Luchase Fox saying he with Horford might not get enough shots? Thinks that the 3 assists is a really good look over 3 assists.
That could I took his points because I saw how many points it was between him and Robert Williams, right? And I just think because of the size that Boston has, that Al Horford would be able to get some probably more rebounds and putbacks into the basket. So, but I mean, Robert Horford can shoot threes, right? He can shoot threes. And so it was just really a choice between him making baskets and Robert Williams making baskets. And Robert Williams' points was at 7.5. So that probably is maybe a better way to go. But I just think in order for Boston to win, you got to have plays set for Al Horford to stretch the court. So you know that you're going to get some lob passes and dunks for Grant or for Robert Williams. But Horford, there's specific plays set up for him to be ran so he can get the ball and score. So I think he has to have kind of a repeat of last game for this game to get out of hand. Now, especially if you got Robert Williams into some kind of foul trouble because he does get aggressive and he might try to be aggressive, that's going to leave more opportunity for Al Horford in this sense. So if anything, I took the lesser of two evils, if you will. It was a choice between Robert Williams going over 7.5 points or Al Horford going over 10.5. And Al Horford just has the better stat lines right now when it comes to points. I mean, this dude put up what? Like he was the highest scorer, the game before? Or I know he put up like 20 and 10. So it's a hit or miss. It really is, especially with props because I'm not the best at them, but I just wanted to look look at the bigs because I believe that's where the advantage is, in my opinion, versus Tatum and Brown. I like the Al Horford matchups and the Robert Williams matchups better than I like the Tatum and Brown matchups. So, I also looked at Marcus Smart, but I thought his numbers were too high as well. So 10.5 just seemed like a good spot for me to take, but I couldn't talk you off that as well. So appreciate that.
3 looks for Derl here. Heat first quarter +3 at -110. Celtics full game -8.5 at -107. And Horford over 10.5 points at minus 102. So I'm on the Heat first quarter as well. Lit picks on the Heat first half. Now, Nasty Nate on the Celtics trifecta.
Of course.
If the game bangs out the way we expect it to, would mean that there's going to be a nice opportunity to bet the Celtics live at some point here. Christopher Corder says Heat roll over here.
Wow.
Oh, no. Roll over here. Yeah, roll over, give up. Celtics team total over first half and full game. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They just look downright bad. I mean, that first quarter last game, I was even looking at the totals because I think that first quarter over under is 51 points. And man, what they put up 36 points total. I don't think it's going to be that kind of game. I do believe it goes more points, but just Heat can do good enough to win the first quarter in Boston, especially with the Tyler Hero news. So it just seems like they collapse, man, second half. Maybe it's the legs. I don't know, but Tatum goes off or Brown will go off or these guys just start making buckets. People start missing their assignments. Like I said, Bam, he doesn't, man, this guy just does not look like himself at all. So yeah, I saw that, Chris. I saw that. I forget who said it. It was like he looked like he got his last fart out before he got off the bus. Kyle Lowry does not look good at all, bro. He does not look good at all. So if y'all haven't seen that video, I mean, it's on Twitter. Look at them getting off the bus, arriving to the arena. I don't know if it was the arena or their hotel, but Kyle Lowry, bro, just looked outright like he was limping. So I don't think they're all the way there. But are they just going to lay down? This is why I took them first quarter. No, not at all. They actually average away more points in the first quarter than the Celtics do at home. So
I love it.
Danny said the same thing too. This is another reason why I took Al Horford instead, because Robert Williams was banged up. He was and is still kind of banged up. So yeah, that's another reason why I just stick with the better position big in Al Horford to answer that earlier question.
Jared TG straight up says the whole team is half dead.
Yeah.
That's what Jared TG said. How did it come to this?
Man, Heat culture though. Did you see that picture? Somebody kind of photoshopped Pat Riley on the sidelines. It said hashtag Heat culture, and it just had his face all frowned up. It's so funny, bro. It's so funny, man. But yeah, and Tyler Hero over here looking like Tony Stark, Iron Man, when somebody put like a beard and so you could just tell, man, they're not ready to go, but they have to go at this point. Boston should win this easily in the second half, rather.
Wow, I was about to say how good Pat Riley looked these days, thinking he was like 90. He's only 77.
Bro, anybody in the chat, if y'all have seen that picture, let us know. I'm telling you, man, that picture is funny as hell. That picture, the Tyler Hero picture is funny, and the Pat Riley picture is funny, man.
Wow. I thought he was older than 77. I guess he doesn't look so good.
Yeah.
For sure he was 87 or something. Jacksonville Zoe says the Celtics want the rest for the finals. It's clear that it's paramount. And you said that. You said that if the Warriors take care of business in Game 5, man, the Celtics are going to do whatever they can.
And vice versa, right? On Wednesday, I was saying Boston has to win because I said, well, if Boston wins, then most definitely the Warriors are going to want to win to close that game out to get the rest, right? That's why I said I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is, because Boston, if they win, man, it's going to turn it around for the Warriors. They're going to come out, and they did. They really did.
Here we go. The Warriors Celtics would be a dream NBA final.
That's crazy. Do you have any futures on that?
No, I don't know. I know the only futures I had in the NBA this year was if I go back to all of it, I had the Nurse for Coach of the Year at 50-1. I had the plus 650 on Scotty Barnes, and I had the Mavericks at 18-1 to win the conference, and 33-1 to win the championship. That was it. Nothing. Very slight. I've been trying to cut. This is the first year. Well, it depends what happens in NHL. Avalanche and Lightning. I have futures on, but this would be the first year since almost I have to go. I've been trying to cut down my action because I had a huge opportunity with the 49ers. At, 30 to 1 and 60 to 1. But this is the first year since 2017. In 2017, when the Penguins took care of business, was a huge score for me, and I haven't had one really since.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to cut down as much as possible,
Yeah, I don't do much futures at all. Close to none. I might do a couple in NFL, but it's almost time, man. Now, after this game and it's a little break, I'll be looking at the WNBA. Now that there's been some games played, I'm not the best at it. I'm going to always humble myself, right? You know, it's nothing's guaranteed in sports betting, but I did it last year and did pretty good. And so I'm going to try to keep that steam rolling a little bit. So I do hope this series ends today. This one's just been not so fun to me, really. You just haven't seen the best Miami Heat team at all. These guys are banged up. But if they give me some time to really look at some WNBA spots.
And then Justin Bilbo asking if I will be betting the Champions League. No, I will not be.
Yeah.
I'll be cheering for everybody who is moving on it, but that won't be me. I don't bet out of my lane. And
yeah. I hear you there, man. I hear you there. I mean, you know, the funny thing, Jay, is this contest is kind of making me look at other sports. I do a little bit of baseball, but I only follow a handful of teams, right? But I get into that a little bit later too. And those are nothing that I really make official. It's just more me being a degen, if you will. But, you know, my lane has and always will be basketball. So after this season's over, you know, what I do in the off season really is I do a lot of reading. Surprisingly, I do a lot of reading to try to learn the game. I'll watch a lot of YouTube videos on different plays. I'll rewatch some games. Look at, of course, the Summer League. That's always big now. You know, Summer League is really big. I'll try to get out to Vegas because it's popping around that time. And then just get ready for the beginning of the season. But I do take a little break because this damn season's long, bro. It's long and tiring.
It's a battle.
It is.
It's a battle. I know a lot of us will want to meet you in Vegas for Summer League. So do let us know
Absolutely
when you will be doing that.
I will be there. I'm a man of my word. So I've got to be there this time. I really do.
I love it. 3 looks for Derl, 1 for me. Derl's on the Heat first quarter +3 -110. The Celtics -8.5, full game -107. Horford over 10.5 points at -102. And I'm just on the Heat first quarter +3 at -110. And we expect Hero to be announced in it to go down to 8. And if you like the first quarter +3, I don't think it's going to be available for much longer. At this point, Pinnacle has it at -111 and is moving in that direction. So
yeah, it's about to drop.
We will see. Derl, keep up the good work. Get to 60%. We believe in you.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
believe in you. Derl sitting at 58.8%. What a spectacular season you have had. Thank you so much for rolling with us. It looks like we may get some Champions League. Yes, we're gonna get a couple Champions League looks from our man Jose to close out the show. A couple say hey looks. But Derl, we love you. Thank you for sharing your hard work with us, and we will see you next in the NBA Finals, my man. So get that cash and follow Derl on Twitter at It'sDerl. Derl, any last words, my man?
Last words, man. Make it a great day. Get out there and enjoy the day, bro. I'm going to this underground function tonight in San Diego. So, bruh, I think I'm going to be messed up for the next 2 days. So I might send some pictures out, bruh, because I haven't been to an underground in a minute. So I'll probably send some drunk pictures on Twitter.
Well, we look forward to seeing them, my friend. We look forward to seeing them. Safe travels down to San Diego, and we love you, buddy. There he is. It's Derl in the house. And we close up the show with 2 more. I'm going to pull up the action that he has given us thus far. And let me go back to it. I'll find the file I have here. And it is from... Okay, no, I was doing too much record keeping, so I'm going to pull it up. Our next guest has given us 2 looks already here on the Champions League final tomorrow, Liverpool versus Real Madrid, and he has come back to give us a couple more. So please welcome to the show, without further ado, Jose Bouquet in the house. Jose, how are you?
Hello, Jimmy. I'm doing all right. A little bit of a hectic morning. Excited to talk about baseball later today. Don't have any plays so far, but I do have the footy, as they say. I've got the footy picks today.
Well, let's talk about your footy picks here. You've already given us two, and let me grab them right here. You have given us a Liverpool to win in extra time at plus 900, and you've given us a halftime draw at plus 132. What is it that you are adding on in your Champions League action for tomorrow?
Well, these are all just correlated bets, so hopefully, I'll say they all hit, except for the last two. I also have full-time draw at plus 265. I got that at Bovada, and I have you said extra time 900. I also have shootout at plus 1200 too. Liverpool to win in penalties at plus 1200 as well. Liverpool to win essentially in extra time and there to be little to no goals or even amount of goals. It's essentially what I'm thinking of. I think it'll be a low scoring affair, especially in the first half. But it'll be a fun game for sure. And I cannot wait to watch it.
Liverpool to win in penalties was plus 1700, you said?
No, that is plus 1200.
Plus 1200. 4 looks for the Say Hey play of the day. Liverpool in extra time to win in extra time at plus 900. Liverpool to win in penalties plus 1200. Halftime draw plus 132. Full-time draw plus 265. And if you were to hit the Liverpool to win in penalties, it would be your biggest win since there. Your 3-point. That was your 10-1 banger here on betting with the bag. So it'd be your biggest win since. So Jose Bouquet going for glory here.
That picture reminds me of Juliana Pena plus 900, my second biggest hit. Yeah, shout out to her.
And that got you paid. That got you paid in full right there.
I missed that. I missed that guy with those khakis. I missed that guy.
That guy was hilarious. He was hilarious. My girlfriend went as him on Halloween down in Costa Rica, and it was like she couldn't look in the mirror without like she was laughing under her mustache. She couldn't stop laughing. And then we went to the party with the company that we worked for, and nobody knew who she was dressed as because they couldn't care less about what Pete and I were doing. They couldn't give a fuck about what Pete and I.
That's funny. Maybe I'll go as I think Helga and I will go as Pete and Youth this year. That would be great.
I'd love it. We could hook it up because Ella did look really good as me, but it was so funny that no one had any idea, and Pete didn't even bother showing up to it. So it was there. So.
No, of course. I mean, I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that at all. I'm already picturing Helga dressed up as you because obviously I have to be Pete, and I'm imagining her in just oversized jeans that go down to her like they're jean shorts, but they go down all the way to the ankle.
I like it.
All the way to the ankle.
Get yourself some cross-color pants, maybe like a red one leg and green and black and yellow.
And obviously, I'll give her one of my flat bills fitted hats, and then we'll ride off. I think this is a great idea. And then I'll just come in a suit, tie, a nice wig, and I'll have the mustache.
I like it. I like it a lot. It's great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Talk to us about who your guest is today. Friday, May 27th, Say Hey plays of the day at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Who is your guest?
Connor Mack back. Obviously, a lovely time with Connor coming this afternoon at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central. It's going to be fun. A meaty card, and it's going to be good. I cannot wait for it. And maybe I think we're going to get back-to-back Connors too, because I think he's coming on Saturday as well. So inject it right there, Jimmy.
And he's been excellent on our show as well. 8-4 is his record. He is leading the way for our MLB cappers. He is 8-4 plus 5.07 units with an average line of plus 113, sitting just ahead of Dabby Cab in our top baseball cappers. But Big Ragu now right there after that 5-2 day he had yesterday. Respect, Jose, and thank you all for supporting the show. We have no show without you, and I'm so excited about the summer. Things get a little easier. We can focus solely on baseball, but while studying college football and NFL football, so we are ready to attack.
I don't remember when the show was only baseball. Is that a thing that happened? Is that early on? Like that was like the first couple of weeks of the show. I don't remember those times now.
No, we started our show here in April. So no, it was like, but it became all baseball after a little while. Don't forget, we also have, and I need redemption so badly. Third Jewel of the Triple Crown on June 11th.
I believe in you.
God, I lost
I'll come on and call the horses again and inspire you to greatness.
Thank you. You did improve. You did vastly improve.
I mean, I've tell people that I'm a part-time horse racer, a horse racing caller person, whatever the hell. And sorry, my English is not good. It's my second language. But I tell people that, and they take me seriously, and I say thank you. And
have you moved on the basketball game tonight?
No, because I honestly I hadn't looked at the line, and I was like, well, this will be a close line, closeout game, right? 8.5, I thought was fucking ridiculous. But I like I've told you for a while now, if the Celtics beat the Heat, they're going to beat the Warriors in 5 or 4 games. It is going to be an ass whooping. Whooping. This Celtics team has been the best team in basketball ever since I said I'm done with this team. I'm out on them. Shout out to Ime Udoka for being Coach of the Year.
Yeah, he did really turn it around. He took a lot of heat.
Yeah, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
John Gilpatrick says Jose is the best caller.
I am.
Look forward to Belmont Stakes Day. Johnny, you haven't jumped on screen with it. I see you on Razor's show, but I don't get you on mine.
Damn it, John.
Please, John. Please, can you please join us on Saturday? You add enormous, and I it was one of.
Can I ask you a question that might be offensive to one of those people on the show? Who is the guy that comes on, the older gentleman, and his things like just some random dude? He's very funny. I think he's very funny.
Oh yeah, it's Mikey. Yeah, it's Mikey D. Yeah,
I have no idea who that man is. Every time he comes on, he makes me laugh. He's
so funny. Yeah, he's so funny.
I have no idea what his name is though, so I know.
And that's real anger. That's real anger that you see there. Like he for whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. If I looked like him and then bet the amounts as he did and lost as much as he did, I mean, come on. I literally know nothing about the guy. I think he's hilarious. I'm just talking out of my ass. So
no, we love. It used to be he would get on the show and it was like a chance for him to get away from the anger, but then we started making fun of him so much that it's even more anger now when he's on.
Yeah, I like him. I love him. I want him to bring that anger all the time. And you know what? I Real Deal Prime just reminded me I need to get my man Smooth Ed on Say Hey Plays. What an addition he would be to Say Hey Plays. God,
smooth operator. That guy.
Fucking electric every time. Ugh.
Thank you guys so much. A big weekend ahead. I have a few additions I'm going to make in MLB, but my card's pretty much set, which I like. But I think about 3 or 4 additions in MLB. Real Deal Prime, Chris Brady in the house, Christopher Carter, Jared TG, Johnny Gilpatrick, nasty Nate.
See you soon, Nasty Nate. Maybe.
Billy Friedrich, Roger that, Mark Schillingberg. What a great group. Thank you guys all so much. Lou Chase Fox, Danny Lopez, AOD, Trans Canada, Officer of 50, Ayash Allah, a.k.a. Robert Jerry. I love you guys. Mally Mal, Jacksonville Zoe, nice to see Jacksonville Zoe back in action. Vinny Hublot in the house. All you guys. Billy Friedrich, thank you.
By the way, Dan, I forgot to text you this last night, and that's a shame on me. I'll just slap myself on the wrist for it.
Side profile of your milky tits?
No, you would like that. Congratulations on your successes, by the way. I forgot to text
thank you. That triple up on the Red Sox?
Yeah, congratulations on your successes.
Fuck, I needed that badly. I needed it very, very badly. God, did I need that badly. All right, let's get the cash coming in. Get our weekend started. This has been sitting here since the...
I thought you were picking up Carter for a second. I thought Carter would run up on you again.
I've got more work to do, so I'm only going to take one shot. But this has been sitting here since...
It's Friday, right? You can drink now.
Yeah, I'm allowed to. I don't. I take.
It's Friday night.
Oh, let's do that. I love you guys. Let's have a great weekend. Let's get that cash. This is to you guys. Thank you so much for your support. I cherish the opportunity to cap with you guys every day.